I can't remember the name, but who's that comedian right now, real famous? Gillis, Shane Gillis.
Yeah.
Shane Gillis talked about this guy on a podcast. He's like some old World War II vet who carried a flamethrower in like Iwo Jima, and every time he talks about it, he's like, "Yes, sir, I remember the smell of barbecue on them as their ungrateful souls went to eternity." And he's like smiling through the whole thing, and it's like, this guy's not okay.
Everyone else is like just dead-eyed, so traumatized by it. This guy's like whistling on his way to work.
Yeah, I remember like there's one interview he is in where the interviewer was like, "Does this weigh heavy on you?" And he was like, "No, sir, I miss it. I loved every minute of it." Like,
sometimes I flash back when I go near Sarku, Japan at the mall. It just reminds me of that flavor. There's a unique scent to the Japanese when they burn. Tempura almost.
They would smell different.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what like guys in Vietnam talk about. They'll be on night ops, and it's like they could smell before they saw people. They would smell like the like there's this rice they would eat that stank really bad. Like they would smell like it coming through the woods before they saw them or heard them.
Have you ever seen the interview of the tunnel rat?
No.
Which one?
So it's the one he's sitting at his like dinner table. It looks like it's filmed in the 80s or early 90s. It's VHS quality, and there's a female interviewer asking him about being a tunnel rat in Nam. Tunnel rats, for those who don't know, they find a tunnel. They're like, "Oh shit, VC tunnel." He crawls into it head first with a handgun and a flashlight and works it out. He's like, VC smell different. They eat that curry and them spices and that BO. It smells spicy. I can smell it. I'll be in the tunnel and I'll be able to tell if it's an old tunnel or a fresh tunnel. And I come up on him with the pistol, tap, tap, put him down, move his body on, crawl on past. He talks about having a necklace of ears and a special chopping machete he altered for taking heads off, and how they took his chopper and his ears away at customs, and he's upset about it to this day. And she's like, "If you could go back, would you?" "Oh, I'd still be there killing if they let me."
Is he fibbing? Because when he says, "Oh, I could tell it was a Vietnamese guy," you're in Vietnam.
But there shouldn't be any. He's crawling in a
skin's a little darker, and their eyes are pointed on the side.
I like to imagine the Vietnamese are in their tunnel, and it's like, "Oh, I don't understand how they find us. I just, every day we eat sour fish paste soup. Every day I eat ice stew, and they find me."
There was a guy who used to work at the gun shop in my town, and he was like decorated in Vietnam. He was a riverboat gunner, and he would tell me some crazy stories. But one of the wildest he told me that I still think about all the time is he was in Vietnam. He was sitting outside of a village that they had set up like a security position on. And he was on the M60, and he was sitting there like laying down next to his gun, and he was picking dirt. He like found a nail on the ground and was using it to like pick dirt from under his fingernails. And then he hears footsteps, and he looks up, and like 5 yards in front of him is a villager who ran out with a rifle. And he said the villager stopped and looked at him and said, "Are you going to kill me?" And without saying anything, he grabbed the gun, like jumped on it and fired and killed him. And telling me that story, he said, "I had completely forgotten about that entire instance until 30, 40 years later. I was back in Tennessee helping my son build his house, and I had some dirt under my fingernails, and I picked up a nail, and as soon as I touched my skin, I remembered all of that." And he said, the thing that bothers me most is to this day, I don't know if he said that in English.
Yep.
Like he can't remember if like the guy actually said, "Are you going to kill me?" or he said something in Vietnamese and he understood it or interpreted it to be that or remembered wrong.
Oh, it was probably English.
He said, "Hey, are you Dave?"
"Hi, I'm Alan. I'm new."
He turns the corner. He's like, "Oh, thank God, I'm the American spy."
They shot me down 6 years ago.
I'm too soft. There's no way I'd be able to forget something like that. Like it would.
Oh yeah, he told me
softness
some
makes
stories.
you forget, right? Like that's the idea, right? That maybe you're traumatized by that moment and your brain seals it away like scar tissue. You know,
maybe
if you're hard like this guy that you're talking about, the old World War II guy with the flamethrower, Walter Philippek, he delights in the.
You remember everything. You
Yeah,
remember what
he's-
it smelled like? Yeah.
Yeah, he remembers what they smell like. He's like, well, some of them have grenades on them. Didn't really want to take them prisoner, did you? And it's like, yeah, it's not. Probably just shoot them from 50 yards away and keep moving. Like the first time some piece of shit that I was trying to show mercy blew my buddy up with a fucking frag grenade, we're not taking any more prisoners after that. You know you're not. Your buddy? Nah.
Dude,
they lost
Asians
that.
in war, the Japanese, the Vietnamese, like they do that grenade shit. They trick you. They are sneaky. They're blowing themselves up. Like I imagine that like back in the day, like England and France are warring. They're like, oh, you're prisoners of the Queen now. Like all those French guys, I imagine being like, well, this sucks. It is over. Like they didn't like try to blow them up or like whatever. Like they were kind of like, fuck, we got. The Europeans didn't have that intensity. They didn't have that drive, that need to win.
I mean, the Japanese were hardcore, you know. That's that so committed when they're sort of had a religion around that emperor. They worshipped him as a demigod, and so his word was sort of law. I mean, it was law. Even when he surrendered, he never said the word surrender in his address, and he also spoke in like the high version of Japanese, like whatever the fancy version is that most people couldn't even understand. So like they listened to it and they were like, what? Not a lot of people who listened to the Emperor surrender radio address even understood what it meant. It had to be explained to them afterwards.
You think about it, Japan's the only reason it was World War II and not like regional conflict 3000. Because without Japan, we wouldn't have got sucked in, and it would just be Europe
Italy entirely.
battling
more from you.
Well, they're in the region, they're in the,
Okay,
European region.
I was just calling you Italian.
I was just nitpicking.
I would say if Japan never got involved, there would eventually be some kind of attack, because like the kind of joke is that Hitler was furious when he found out that Japan attacked the US, right? But in reality, he was like, historical records point that he was like thrilled about it, because it's like, good, the Japanese are fighting them, they'll strike. Because it's not like sure, we were going to leave them alone while it was a conflict within like France and Germany and stuff for the most part. But if Britain was like invaded and taken over, I don't think that our whole like keep to the new world ideology would have lasted that long, especially because like Hitler's eventual plan was like world domination, maybe a bit extreme, but at least European domination, right? He was like one of the last emperors who thought to conquer the world. I don't think he would have left us alone eventually, or someone else. And honestly, if Germany had the capability to take over Europe and we didn't do anything, then maybe us fighting them would have been a lot worse. So I don't know. I think maybe it still would have been, just not as quickly.
Roosevelt ran on the idea that he kept us out of the war, right? He was pretty old,
and then immediately put us
yeah.
into the war.
Well, initially, up until
put us
Pearl
in the
Harbor.
war
Pearl
after
Harbor,
Japan
Pearl Harbor,
attacked,
right.
and I can't help but wonder if he would have kept, done that sort of isolationist policy and let Germany do whatever. And I'm not so sure if we weren't attacked that he would have gotten involved.
I believe it was the idea of joining the war was incredibly unpopular until Pearl Harbor. Because everyone was like, dude, it's Europe, dude. They fight all the fucking time. Like, let them do their little battles and not our problem. And then Pearl Harbor happened and everybody's like, nah.
It's interesting that Italy and Germany declared war like the next day or so. Like they didn't have to. They could have left the onus to the United States to declare war on them. But because as soon as they do that, we initiate the Germany first policy. We're going to take whatever it was, obviously Hawaii, but like maybe Wake and Guadalcanal, and triangulate Japan and hold them at bay. But we're taking Germany first. We're winning Europe first was the plan. I think if it had gone any other way, I think the future is really dark, because the Manhattan Project needed to happen. We needed to get that nuclear weapon first. I don't know that happens if we don't get drawn into that war. I think the Nazis get it. I think the Nazis have Europe and the nukes.
I do not see a scenario where Hitler wins Europe and then is satisfied, right? Especially not with the advancements in science and stuff like that they were making. I think it may have been after after FDR, I think it may have been sometime later. I think eventually Germany does something against the United States. And then, like Kyle said, at that point, we may not have been as much of an arms race as much as it was, oh no, they have weapons.
What about current events? Do you see a scenario where Putin takes Ukraine and says, all right, that's all I wanted. It's cool.
I don't think we let him take it.
I don't know. I don't know if Russia has the capability to do what Hitler tried to do just because of the way tech's advanced and stuff like that. Would he want to take more? I would say absolutely. Would he have the capability or like the means of doing it? Probably not. But
it seems like he does baby steps, right? Like he took Crimea, rebuilt. Take more of Ukraine. If we just say, hey, like Kyle said in Civ, you want peace? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now this becomes our land. Now we solidify. Now we have armed forces.
All of our troops can advance. And right now, we've got all those long range missiles making it hard to advance to the front lines. You declare peace in Civ for that reason, the video game Civ. It's like, oh, yeah, thank you for peace. I've got 10 turns to mass my forces on your border. And then we'll begin a new war, one which I will be in the stronger position. You're going to be fucking rebuilding your dams. I'm going to be massing troops. It's what that war needs to end with the Russians getting some land and the Ukrainians getting some assurances, whether that's their own nuclear stockpile back or joining NATO, which I think is a terrible idea. Something's got to happen so that they believe there will not be a third incursion, into their territory in 5-6 years. Although you got to wonder how long Putin's gonna live, I
think he's younger than our world leaders. He's like a spry 71. But yeah, I don't think that. I just think the world is so different now, and Russia does not have the ability to project power outside of their own direct region. Like NATO is a thing, and if they step foot in Poland, it's fucking over. Like we've talked about this 1,000 times. Like. We blow them out of the water technologically, militaristically, fill in the blank. Like they can't compete with us. And so the way you would immediately destroy Russia, if Putin's goal was like, yeah, I'm going to immediately destroy Russia, invade Germany. See how that goes for you, dumbass. You will immediately be slapped down. You will be decimated.
Dude, I got so much respect for the Poles. I don't think he makes it to Germany. Like I think Poland's hard fucking core.
Yeah, or try invading Poland. Yeah, try invading Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania. One of them.
All right. Well, hang on a minute.
That's a bit much.
Try invading the Vatican. They will f you up, man.
They will. There's like 7 guys there. They're dressed in the rafters.
Yeah, Latvia's over there, and Taylor's like, "Go ahead, take them." Kill them. Kill all of them right now.
like the overselling. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and
wipe them off the earth. I'll turn around. You go ahead. I won't even look.
I have no fear of Russia.
I think
I feel like they're so far behind us.
The reason Russia, and I'm not a political expert at all, but I believe the reason Russia is in the position there with Ukraine is because they can be, because Ukraine is one of the countries that defense force wise was beneath Russia, and somehow they're in the position they are. I think Russia tries what they're doing now with any established nation, and it's not going. Could you imagine if the United States tried to take Puerto Rico? Like if we really wanted to, like how fast
we do that in
would
an
happen.
Evening. That
exactly. You wouldn't even hear about it. It would be like
it'd be over. It'd trend on Twitter for 4 minutes, and it'd be like, I guess we have that now.
Exactly.
Well, Well, Puerto Rico's like a what do you call it? A territory. So like, right?
See, look how fast that was.
Yeah.
That's like that guy. That guy's like he's like, I have the power to make you forget you were gay. He's like, but I'm not gay. See, he's like,
that's funny.
But I never was.
He should have said it's not working. That'd be funny.
It's not working.
No, I'm feeling it. If anything, kind of like double down. I'm feeling it right a little extra.
Are you sure this is working?
I'm gonna go get a boa
again.
But a boa.
Realistically, I think that Ukraine is the one, and then like I feel like some Latvias would have a hard time and stuff like that. But other than the Balkans, I feel like this does. Yeah, would he want it to? Absolutely. If you were to tell Putin he could push a button and be commander of the world, sure.
And it was very heroic. And man, I cry on almost every single one of those stories, especially the ones on YouTube, because these old men who fought in Korea will be there, and it's just like that Band of Brothers thing when he's like, "Do it, Taylor." The whole
My
thing.
grandson asked me, Grandpa, were you a hero in the war? Grandpa said no. But I served in a company of heroes. And then it plays the sad music, and he's just this old man, and he'd had all these remarkable achievements, and he's so humbled by the sacrifice of his men.
Just you saying that brought back those memories, and I teared up. I teared up. If you'd done it another time back to back, I'd have cried.
Who are you thinking of, Taylor? Is it a real old one or a recent one?
It was a real old one, like before they could get away with that.
Oh, was it FDR?
I think FDR. Maybe you're right.
FDR was having a hard time there at the very end.
Yeah, Eleanor ran the country for a bit. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, I have heard that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like,
and it worked out. Look.
Yeah, we got Social Security and all sorts of great stuff.
And we won World War II.
We got or no, that was 1913. The Fed, right? That was the real bad thing.
I would love it if it actually came to be that bombing the Japanese was Eleanor. Was Eleanor.
Well, he'd already died by then, so it was.
Oh shit! Yeah, never mind. I just
Truman.
Yeah, it was
the American.
Truman, I believe.
History. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was Truman.
Yeah. That was all Truman. FDR probably wouldn't have dropped the bomb, although that's a fascinating piece of history that I find really interesting. Like we studied that pretty extensively in high school about whether or not the ramifications of it, why it was done, and whether or not it was the right thing to do or not. I don't know. I don't know the answer to all those questions, but it was pretty fucking cool to see.
Yeah, America was kind of bad guys, right? Like, really?
In what regard?
So 9/11, they killed civilians, and we act like that was the most over-the-top civilian killing event that ever happened. Those guys didn't deserve that, which is true. I get it. We killed civilians, too. We killed civilians indiscriminately in cities with nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
We had been killing civilians. Both sides had been killing civilians indiscriminately throughout the entire war with bombs. And the nuclear bombs were some of the least effective at doing that. The firebombing that we did in Hamburg and Germany was outrageous. The firebombings that we had, the reason they picked Hiroshima and Nagasaki, for one thing, it was because of wind conditions that day. But the main reason was there weren't a whole lot of cities left to bomb anymore because we had firebombed them all. We had these like weaponized meteorology teams who would like look at air currents and be like, next Thursday, there is 100% chance of a firebombing, boys, because this is going fucking low pressure zone over Hanoi. Like this is the time to fucking drop them.
Man,
and
it's dry.
It's so dry.
It's so dry and windy on Thursday.
Man, this is the worst day of my life. Some guy who like steps in a puddle and just, God damn it, looks up at this God approaching.
But no, that was.
But what, Kyle? You're
that was
right.
just how
but
that
you're
war
also
was,
like proving my point. Like
in the middle of a war, yeah. Like we didn't lead off with a city attack necessarily, and it was commonplace in the war. And also, like part of it was these were industrial cities. These were cities that were creating the weapons of war, right? These were the ammunition creating cities, the airplane creating cities, the fuel depots, etc.
Yeah, I was just going to go there. That's what I thought it was, like some sort of production facility that they chose it not because it's like, hey, where there's a fuckload of civilians? Hiroshima. It's like
they had.
I don't know. It just seems
they had looked at what it would cost.
Bomb a city to take out an airplane manufacturing plant, right?
They didn't know what the nuclear bomb was going to do. So they dropped those bombs as demonstration to show the emperor what we had, because the goal was to make the emperor surrender. And they weren't quite getting it. Now, whether or not the emperor was about to surrender or not, they were sort of mid-negotiation. But it was almost like that guy who was quasi-resisting in his car. That's how the emperor was being during negotiations. He wasn't full-on saying, to the death, no matter what. But he also wasn't like hands up, 10 out of 10. Like, yeah, I think we're heading toward peace. Like it was somewhere in the middle. So they were really trying to break his resolve because the people were going to fight to the last man, and there were these they had done these analyzations to like figure out what's it going to cost to invade the main island of Japan, like in men and resources, and the calculations ranged somewhere between like 250,000 U.S. deaths and 1 million. It was outrageous numbers.
I've heard this before, and it makes a lot of sense. I'm not even saying what we did was the worst case. I'm just saying if they decided, hey, you know what? The best way to get them to surrender is to bomb a city with a nuclear weapon, kill tons of civilians, and give them cancer and all that fun stuff, then you kind of give up your virginity with regards to how pure you think your tactics are.
I disagree. I don't think, for one thing, they didn't know a whole lot about what those nuclear weapons were going to do, especially as far
they
as
thought it was a taser, probably. So
well, they really, it was a brand
they yelled taser before they dropped it. I need to know.
That it's a brand new piece of technology. We'd only detonated one of them before, and like even then, we had U.S. troops in like foxholes, like within radiation range. Like watching the thing go down. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen. There were scientists who were saying that we shouldn't do it at all because it could ignite the atmosphere of the planet, and the entire planet could be consumed in a fireball. They didn't know what a nuclear weapon was going to do.
One thing that has always fucked with me. It's like, okay, theoretically speaking, how the fuck did we not know that splitting one atom wouldn't split all the atoms around it and then just like basically nuke all of existence? It's like you were real fucking confident that was
that chain reaction would stop.
Yeah,
it would settle.
Brand new. It was all theoretical. It was all theoretical until they just made it practical. But like, if bombing cities makes us lose some sort of moral high ground, then that had been lost long before the two nuclear weapons. Because. Okay. There was the bat bomb that I talked about where they had like the capsules full of bats with thermite charges tied to their legs that they would release over Japan at nighttime. And then they would go roost as in the homes as the sun was coming up, as bats will do. And then the timed thermite charges would explode. Japanese civilians' homes are primarily made of bamboo. So like the whole city, the idea was like, we'll burn all the people's homes to the ground. It was, and you got to keep in mind, the Japanese were at the very least equal in evilness to the Germans. Like if you look at like some of the programs they had with the vivisection and the human experiments,
it's like Sector 852 or some shit.
Section 81 or something. Yeah. Like it's horrific. Like don't get me wrong. Like we joke about the Holocaust a lot. I know the fucking Holocaust happened and it was horrific, but like they did things that are worse than rounding up a bunch of people and gassing them to exterminate them. And I don't say that lightly. Like rounding up a whole race of people and gassing them in gas chambers is incredibly
hard to top.
It's hard to top. They managed it somehow. And if you don't believe me, you can just read the horrific stuff that they did. It's just as evil as when I talk about Warhammer 40K lore. This where someone sat down and just tried to make up the most horrific stuff you can do to a person. The Japanese were doing it in the 40s, like freezing people to death and like shattering their arms off and burning people alive and just injecting with all sorts of horrible, horrific chemicals, giving them every disease imaginable. They had created so much, maybe it was botulism or something like that. They had so much they had enough botulism to like kill the whole planet. Like so much evil was going on, not to mention what they did in Nanking when they invaded China. The event is referred to as the rape of Nanking. Like that's where you see those still shots of Japanese soldiers with Chinese babies on bayonets being flung into fires alive, and women and children being buried alive by bulldozers.
Yeah, there. I mean, some of the details of the shit that they did there was like they were cutting people open, like using their organs as like a host to like basically use the human as a battery to keep bacteria alive that they could one day turn into like a bio weapon against the US or some shit. Like they did some fucking terrible shit. And I'm really glad I came on this podcast. This is a wonderful conversation.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I think that World War II is one of the very few examples of where you've got a good team and a bad team versus each other. And I think the only ambiguity to be found is in the Soviets. But as far as like why the U.S. was in that war, I think that you can really, I think that we were the good guys there. I don't think that has been the case since, for the most part. I think there's almost always been some sort of, yeah, but we also wanted this and that, and yeah, but it was a good idea to put our foot in the door of this and that, and let them know that we won't put up with this on this parallel of the fucking planet. But there was one where you had evil people trying to conquer the world, like something out of a science fiction movie, in Hitler, Mussolini, and Hirohito, and you had a bunch of people who were like in nations that were standing up to them for the betterment of mankind. And I think like if you're still like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like imagine like how the planet would have, where we'd be right now if the Axis powers had won. You know, like I don't think you would have
cool
preferred that reality.
Shit. Flying cars.
Flying cars.
No, it's all good. They continued their work with, NASA and a bunch of other cool places. So it's all good.
I'm not saying tech would have been, the technology would have been just about the same.
You'd look at your NVIDIA card and think it sucks if the Nazis had won.
I think that if you didn't look like the four of us, you'd have had a hard time on most of the planet.
But that's where the fun stuff happens, is when white people fight, because then maps get redrawn, technology goes forward 10 years.
I gotta take a piss.
It's just a matter of, the cost, all those lives,
Details, Taylor, details.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
I'm still watching that Dan Carlin thing, the Supernova in the East, about the Japanese in World War II, and it's so fucking good. I'm like, I feel like
making you like the Japanese more.
Oh, it makes me despise them.
Hating them?
It makes me despise those scummy pieces of shit. Oh, they're awful. The Australians were hardcore. They were, I think they're maybe on Guadalcanal or one of the big islands. Lots of Australians. They've been stuck there for a long time, not much food. And the Australians just got so good, they stopped losing men almost. And they got so good at killing. And they're talking about, they came upon one of their guys. They've been tortured. And there's a sign above their guy that said he took a long time to die. And it's like, this enraged the Australians. They went on a killing spree. It's just like, it's great. They find their guy like bent over with had been raped and with a bayonet up his ass. He's dead. Like so after a while, there was no taking of prisoners at all, or even considering the taking of prisoners, or even messing with a body. They considered the dead bodies to be like zombies. They might get back up because they'd often play dead. They'd often be like one guy out there with a grenade under him, ready to pop up and take you with him.
I know that doesn't seem very honorable.
It's super honorable if you can take a Marine down with you. But it makes me hate the Japanese, just despise them. Like the Battle of Midway is just one of the coolest stories ever. Basically, the Japanese show up with their 4 carriers, 4 aircraft carriers, and like a huge navy. And we're there with I think 3, and one of them's fucked up already. It's already damaged from maybe a previous battle. And they're bombing land with their carriers when they spot our carriers. And so their guy has a decision, because it's a big deal to switch from land to air bombing and get the refueling done. Mm-hmm. And so he decides to take all of the guys who are bombing the land, let them all land, let them all refuel all the planes, including the ones that are like flying around doing defense. Basically, he brings every plane back and has it dressed, fueled, and like armed to go fight the American to go fight the American carrier. The alternative would have been to be like, send what we have now. And as soon as we can send more, send a little more. And as soon as we can send another one, every time we have a guy with a plane that's suited to attack the carrier group of the Americans, send it. He could have done that, because that's what the Americans did. The Americans had this, it was continuous. It begins at like, they know exactly what time, because it's the fucking Navy. And like, the Americans were attacking continuously. Our torpedoes didn't work. The torpedo planes are have the most dangerous job. They have to fly at wave height and like detach this torpedo, and they would either go too low, or even if they hit, they didn't work. Like our torpedoes for the first 2 or 3 years of the war were bullshit. They literally didn't work. Yes, it went on for years. Torpedoes not working before they fixed the problem. Meanwhile, the Japanese had the best torpedoes in the world. So all the torpedoes are hitting and missing, or just not blowing up, doing 0 damage. And then the dive bombers come. It's starting to look like the Americans are going to lose, because the Japanese are fending them off so well. Then the dive bombers come, and the pilot had been at Pearl Harbor, and the pilot, you've got his first person viewpoint, not viewpoint, but like his narrative as he's coming down from high altitude straight down into one of the carriers. It's got a big red circle painted on the deck. And he's like, I'm aiming right for that 50-foot circle. And I drop my bomb and I pull up hard and I watch and watch. That's a biplane. But
this is the American Revolution. No, I'm confused.
Yeah.
But he hit they hit 3 of the Japanese carriers. They destroyed 3 of the Japanese carriers in that battle, and that changed the whole war. Like, that's where the war changes. The Japanese lose 3 carriers, and even though our shit is heavily damaged, I think they sink one of our carriers in that battle. But the reason they sink our carrier, if I remember correctly, they came and attacked our carrier, fucked it up, dropped bombs through the deck. There's wooden decks on American and Japanese carriers. The Germans had steel decks, I think, or the British did. And so the thing's on fire. They radio back, 1 carrier down, 1 flat top down. That's what the Japanese say. But the crew on that boat was so good and experienced at putting out fires and repairing that they put the fires out, repaired the deck, and were launching planes off of it. So when the Japanese get back, they think 1 carrier's down. It's not. In fact, it's been repaired to full power already before they can get back. And so they say, oh, we found another carrier. And so they hit it again. I think then they sink it. So they think they've taken out 2 carriers when they've only taken out 1.
I think I have this right. Early in World War II, there was an attack on an American ship of some sort, naval ship, and they took out the firefighting team. And then something that would have been extinguished was sunk. So then the Navy made a change in tactic and trained every single sailor to have a firefighting role, so that you couldn't just take out the right 37 guys and sink a ship. And that lends to what Kyle was saying, like, they were so good at firefighting because literally everyone on the ship is a firefighter.
World War II aircraft carriers were triply flammable, I think he puts it. And that they're
compared
full
to
of
what?
Compared to anything, compared to any other naval
fuel.
vessel.
Those things are so flammable.
Compared to any other naval vessel, because they're made of wood and they have all the fuel for the planes and then the bombs for the planes, and they also have guns on them. So like have all the ammo for those guns, all those 5-inch shells or 8-inch shells or whatever the fuck, and all the powder that launches them. So if you hit the wrong part, it's just they would jump out of the water. Those big gigantic naval vessels, destroyers and stuff, when the magazine goes off, in every narrative I've heard, like different battles, they talk about the boats jumping out of the water from the power of the explosion.
Nowadays, Russian tanks are curiously flammable. Like I see them just drop a grenade in the open hatch. So if the Russians abandon their tank, maybe it's immobilized or something, then the Ukrainians will come along and drop a grenade in the empty tank just so that it can't be repaired and reused. And it's surprising to me just how often they seem to burst into flames. All the rounds that are stored inside catch fire and blow it up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense. You're probably not like spending a ton of time fireproofing against like a grenade attack at the last second, because it's it's already over if that happens.
The American tanks have their magazine in a separate compartment that has blowout panels. So when it explodes, it has a released explosion that vents so you don't kill everyone and lose the turret.
Well, that's a much better idea.
It's a way better idea if you're inside the tank.
I'd so much rather be in that tank than the one where you just burn alive.
We've got AC as well, like good air conditioning in there. 100%, right?
Well, I
asked
bet
the
the
tank
Russians
commander
don't have
about
good
that.
AC because it's Russia.
I think he said that Russians don't have AC. I think he said the Israelis have AC suits, like there's a hose that goes onto what they're wearing, and the Americans have AC, if I recall. It's something like that.
Fucking cool. I'd love an AC suit. Just walk around all the time, like water circulating in it.
I think it was powered by the tank. Like the tank has a hose that you put on your, I'm making it up, shoulder, and now you're air conditioned inside.
I wonder if it's like, I would want liquid to be radiating through it, like an engine radiator.
Like you're a computer?
I am a computer.
Well, I guess
keep me cool.
Technically,
I want like hell. I want it all up around my head and my groin. I want like armpits. I want that.
You're not going to kill a lot of foes if you're all sweaty.
I don't intimidate with lack of shrinkage.
I just want to.
You just want to be sweaty, dangling sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls long. It's me at full size entering battle.
That's how we beat the Japanese. Is they saw our sweaty dicks and balls, and they're like, "Oh, we cannot possibly compete with this," because they were cold.
I've been watching Dan Carlin's Supernova in the East. If you don't know Dan Carlin's, basically a historian. He does these long form, heavily researched, well put together audio videos. It's audio, but I'm watching it on YouTube. I'm 8.5 hours in, and Pearl Harbor just ended. It's 8.5 hours until Pearl Harbor stops. Like till you get to Pearl Harbor, and then he tells those events. Like the
what
third
was the
video,
starting point?
Yeah.
Did you explain that?
Japan invading China in 1931, and like the reasons for their
so it's been like a decade.
Yeah, I was like, if the starting point was like the beginning of recorded time, then Pearl Harbor's pretty far along.
Yeah, then he's flying.
Well, it's called Supernova in the East. He's talking about Japan, the rising sun of Japan, going supernova and turning imperialist. The motivations behind that are very important. Understanding like the racial undertones of the whole world and how the Japanese were underestimated by like the entire world. Like they were like, oh, they're very good at copying technology, but they could never craft their own because the Japanese were in this isolationist period. The Japanese were in this isolationist period for a very, very long time, hundreds and hundreds of years. They come out of it and they send envoys to all the major countries. So they send one to England, learn how Navy works. They copy the English Navy. They're the best Navy in the world. Why wouldn't they? They send them everywhere. Military, art, history, everything. They want to be the best at everything. And it's interesting. He describes the Japanese people as just like everyone else, just more so. And it's like, yeah, they do everything with such an intensity and such rigor that it goes overboard. And then because they've had this period of isolationist, they've romanticized just how rigid to Bushido their ancestors were, just how good the way we look at maybe medieval knights and think of knights in shining armor who do only good, tell only truths, protect the weak. Okay. All right. Our politicians say some similar vows. They don't keep up with them. But because these guys have never known personally that ruling Bushido military class, they've heavily romanticized it. And so he tells all this to sort of load you up for what's coming in World War II. I'm fascinated. It's so good. All I know is just remember Pearl Harbor. Never forget that. That I say that dealing with all of them.
I'll forget 9/11 long before I forget Pearl Harbor.
I'm not. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because 9/11 was just that we got most of those guys, that did the 9/11. Like
we got all of them. They
I thought you were talking about Wall Street.
No,
I don't think we got any of those guys that caused 9/11.
No,
they all died in the
plane. We found the true culprits' passports in the rubble. We got them. Man, sometimes you get lucky.
Depending on what version you believe, we got them all. Whereas, it never sat right with me in history class when they got to the part about the Japanese emperor just getting away scot-free and getting to remain the emperor. I mean, I guess he lost a lot of.
He wasn't the real emperor. He was just a figurehead.
He got to live in his palace.
Yeah, like as a figurehead, though. He wasn't like.
Who else was going to live there?
Yeah, Kyle, you
should have drug him out of there and hung him.
He only got the money and prestige. He was no longer in charge.
We could have done what MacArthur. It was MacArthur, right? That they put in charge of Japan. Like they basically said, "All right, you run Japan," and he was like, "Wait, what?" Well, I was just running the whole Pacific War effort, so okay. So he's in charge of Japan now, and it was literally up to him. Should we drag the emperor out of there? Fucking him in the street? Like he could have made that call, but instead they decided to let them keep their figurehead and let him live out the rest of his fucking days. I don't think he died until color TV and shit. Like he got to live to the good times.
Yeah, he's a Japanese emperor. They live hundreds of years.
Fuck.
Like they're healthy people. And if you're trying to keep the Japanese happy about it, you got to let them, because they're all about honoru and all of that shit. And so you have to give them something to be proud of afterward. Like, hey, you still have.
Did you hear about all the Japanese women that the Japanese willingly enslaved to allow our sailors to fuck? Because they just thought that was what they needed to do. Because when they went somewhere, like when they were in China and Indonesian places and they take over and occupy, they would just make all the women their concubines and sort of make a pleasure squad. When we took over, they were like, "Oh, quick, let's line up their pleasure squad. Either we make a pleasure squad or they'll make one for us. You know how war is." So they just organized a huge amount of women. They were 15 to 20 to be in pleasure houses to support the war, do your duty, be a whore for Japan. The Americans are here. Otherwise, you know what they'll do. They'll just start everybody because that's how war is.
That's
it was
depressing.
just another one of those times where they thought we were as awful as they were. It's the Japanese were so evil that they're like something out of a storybook. They're like the World War II Japanese because they couldn't comprehend human decency. They killed themselves and fought to the last man because they thought that Marines were recruited from mental hospitals, that they were literally bloodthirsty men with sharpened teeth. They thought U.S. Marines were monster men who would torture them. So they're jumping off cliffs and drowning themselves rather than just giving up and taking the hot meal they would have gotten. Just because that's what they did as well. You know, they would torture us to death. They didn't take fucking prisoners. Did you see their prison camps where they would be lopping people's heads off with katanas and starving those guys to death? Not to mention all those experiments where they would vivisect people and expose people to botulism, smallpox, any number of like gas experiments, boiling people and just expose them to anything you can imagine that's awful to be exposed to.
For research.
Like Lizzo?
Exactly.
Expose them to Lizzo.
Yeah, but now Japan is like the last bastion of like awesome against.
They're
the
our
woke,
missile island now. We need them.
The woke censors, right? Like they put tits in their video games and they don't care about.
They censor their porn,
shit.
Dick.
I don't like that, Woody. But they do have whores in Japan.
Do
they? That's
balance
progressive.
it out.
Wait,
yeah, dude,
is
they
it
have like a
legal? There's-
6-block area. It's not legal, but they have like a 6-block area in Osaka where they have like these whores stood up on. I mean,
Shit, we have illegal whores. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
Whores are legal in Australia. Prostitution's legal in Australia. Do you know that?
Yeah, but you have to fuck an
Yeah.
Australian.
Australians are like fucking Floridians.
No.
with their own
They come
islands.
from criminal stock, and I'll hear nothing more of it.
My dream come true would be to
They're
drag
not like
the whole
us.
continent of Australia up and like butt it up against Florida. Like they would just get along so fucking well.
They would have such a grand old time. Australia and Florida. There's probably about as many people living in Florida as Australia, right?
Yeah, probably
They,
same.
they could probably be. They could be such good friends.
So many times I hear about these ancient wars, I feel like the number of soldiers has been exaggerated. It's always like 1 million people per side, 500,000 people. And I'm like, really? That seems like a lot. I can't even imagine a field with some of these numbers in the same place.
Yeah. I don't know. I know they've got battlefield records and graveyards and stuff. And a lot of the times with the Crusades, there's like payment records because the church was paying so many people to go, and so there's X amount of gold was distributed. I don't know. We definitely know those World War I battles were of that enormous size, where like I think 15 or 20,000 people died in one day on the Somme. Like just one battle, like 20,000 men would die, and they're
How'd that go? Did one side get overrun? Did they use
No,
gas?
they went the lines. We watched those Ukraine lines move, and it's like, oh, look at that, bouncing back and forth. But the lines were almost static for years and years.
I
That's
know.
why
On the
they-
day that 20,000 people died, they were still static. It sounds like that's a breakthrough to me, which is what I was thinking.
I think there was a rush, and they kept rushing, and it was artillery and machine gun fire, and there's always and gas and all that stuff. The British kept sending men in, like they send more, what's more, and it just they just fed men to the machine guns for years and years. That's why they started digging tunnels under the no man's land and got under the enemy positions, and then they would pack huge amounts of explosives underneath them and blow them up. I think they were called clay kickers or something like that. Like
The tunnel Jews.
no, these were good old Birmingham English boys that had been pulled out of mines and such to go like
The Germans are
volunteer.
like, do you hear voices underneath it?
They
You're
would.
crazy.
No, they would. They
Uh-huh.
later on, once they got wise to the Germans started doing it back to the British after like this new kind of warfare had come into play. And so they'd be in the tunnels with stethoscopes listening to the walls. And sometimes you and the Germans would be tunneling parallel to each other. And you'd be like, they're right on the other side. And then like you fucking dig them out and bayonet a bunch of guys up under the earth. Like
Bayonets start poking through. Well, this is awkward. Bye.
So in World War One, they would tunnel under enemy positions and plant huge amounts of explosives to blow up the entrenched positions.
That's a cool thing to do. I thought you were talking about World War II, and I just thought of the hypothetical. Do you think if the U.S. would have joined on the side of Japan, Italy, and Germany, they could have conquered all of Western Europe?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Even with the Soviets still on the Allies?
So the Soviets were able to do what they did to the Germans on the backs of our food and trucks. So I don't have the number in my head, but we sent like 75,000 trucks to the Soviets or something like that, and we fed them when they would have starved.
Would the Nazis have steamrolled the Soviets if we hadn't supplied the Soviets, is what you're saying?
The Soviets wouldn't have been able to make their counter push after Stalingrad without our material that we were giving them in gargantuan amounts. Like I can't remember the numbers because it's from a documentary I watched a month ago, but we fed, fueled, and put the machines underneath the Soviet engine of war as far as trucks, food, and stuff like that goes.
How do you
they wouldn't have been able to do that?
We would have balkanized it afterwards or split it up.
We did split it up anyway. We had East and West Germany.
Oh, right? I mean, in the different situation where like we joined with Italy, Germany, Japan, would we just have taken the United Kingdom? We take pieces of Western Europe?
No, I think that I don't know what would have happened in that scenario, but in the alternate histories that I've seen, we're entering into the side of Germany and Japan, not to take parts of what they are trying to take. And in Japan's case, it's the Southeast Asia, basically all of China, Indonesia, Korea, like all that is what they're trying to eventually put their flag over. And then some of Eastern Eurasia as well, like perhaps even into they had their own beefs with the Russians. And obviously Hitler wants all of Europe. That's all taken. So what we would do in the alternate histories that I've seen is take our bite out of South America.
I think we would have gotten something out of Europe too, because like Japan was obsessed with getting that all of Japan and then part of China. Hitler was like had a boner for reuniting the Sudetenland, like he wanted all those Germanic people, but that doesn't include like the UK, and so we could have peeled that off. Like
I don't know what would have happened if the Soviet Union had been defeated. I'd love to. I watched this historian named Sarah Payne. Her like speeches on YouTube are fascinating. She's so well informed, and I don't know what you do if Hitler conquered the Soviet Union, which he was close to doing. He got to Stalingrad and they stopped him. But I think Stalingrad is like 80 miles from fucking Moscow or something like that. Like
it would have been fucking over if they lost Stalingrad.
But if Moscow falls, and even if they kill Stalin, the Soviet Union is so fucking big. Like, how do you ever like plant your flag over that and have that be your land? Where I mean, the Nazis had done it to Poland. Like Poland was theirs. France was theirs.
Poland's
they were
not
flying
small.
Their flag, and the populations of those countries had submitted and like bent the knee, and they're like, "All right, well, we don't like it, but I guess we work for the Nazis now."
Poor Poland, dude. Like they got fucked.
I don't buy into this idea that the Russians are this like absolutely unstoppable force that can win any war. Ukraine's kind of proven that untrue. However, they never quit. What they endured in World War II and even what they're enduring now in Ukraine, it just seems like they keep going and going and going. And if they had taken Moscow and Stalin had fallen, I still think you'd have to freaking kill the last Russian to keep that property.
You'd have to, I mean, that's why we like frame them as like a stout enemy. It's not even like their technology or anything. It's like their culture of like being resolute. Like this is what the mission is, and we are going to do it. And we'll pour as many people as we need.
So here's what we gave them.
They'll live in the rubble and never stop fighting.
Yeah, that's totally possible.
So here's what the U.S. gave the Soviet Union for their war effort. $11.3 billion, which is the equivalent of $180 billion in current money. We gave them 4.5 million tons of food, including sugar, fats, meats, etc. 400,000 trucks, jeeps, and tractors. 14,000 airplanes, 13,000 tanks, 2,000 locomotives, and thousands more rail cars. 107,000 tons of cotton, petroleum products, and other materials. Millions of pairs of boots, blankets, radios, and consumer goods. we fed, clothed, vehicled.
How on
fueled.
earth did Germany keep this close? I'm fucking serious. Like, if we're talking about Russians being resolute, the last thing we need again on this planet is Germans getting mad again.
That's a good
Because
point.
they're so good at it.
So
They're like,
takeaway from
there's
that.
a problem. I will engineer a new thing that blows the problem up. Like,
America isn't the manufacturing like supreme person that they were back in the time. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, if there was a world war, is that what it's like to have China as your ally? Or is it going to be like, dude, China gave us so many drones. China gave us so much food. I'm not sure about that one. China gave us, so many fucking Android phones. I'm not sure what they make, but like, I don't know that we can supply a country like Russia like we did before.
definitely not. Yeah, our manufacturing sector's hollowed out, and so we would be relying on China to, just like with COVID, where it was like, oh, we actually don't have the things that make masks. And it's like, that seems like an oversight. Seems like we probably fucking should have at least one. Like maybe somewhere in Ohio, throw a mask plant.
I believe we could spool up production on things like vehicles and tanks, and maybe even like the less advanced aircraft, that if we don't have some sort of chip shortage, but the smart munitions we would be out of in a couple of months in a shooting war with China.
Even raw stuff like steel, right? America's steel industry has been protected and coddled by tariffs for 60 years. And that's why it's an uncompetitive, bullshit, expensive, garbage industry here. They are efficient and they make great stuff overseas because they're lean, mean, fucking tiger muscle with skin stretched over them.
Slaves doing the labor.
It's hard to match.
Here in America, fucking coddled and protected, and they're only competitive because we put tariffs on their competitors.
Worthwhile.
I can't
Protect
imagine
your own
first
manufacturing. We don't. Obviously, American laborers can't compete with the prices provided by slaves in the third world.
They're automated overseas, and they're labor intensive here.
I mean, we could be automated,
but we don't need to be because we can compete because the other people are terrorists.
We don't need to be until the moment we 100% have to be, and then we won't have
the tariffs.
I don't know that we're going to fight another World War II style war, though. Like if we're in a 21st century fight against a peer like China or a near peer,
they're not a peer. Oh, okay, they're becoming a peer, but
near
I don't
peer
like
is the terminology that those military analysts usually use for China. I don't know that the war lasts long enough for us to need to build the replacements for the things we've lost, like battleships and tanks and aircraft carriers. I don't think the war lasts so long.
Pray it doesn't, because if so, we're fucked.
The whole world better pray it doesn't. The whole world better pray that we all launch salvos at each other and then both realize that this was a big mistake and de-escalate. But like the way World War II was going, where after Pearl Harbor, they ordered like 27 aircraft carriers. Like that was the order. Like, not to mention all of the thousands of other boats that were built. They were cranking out Liberty ships in 20 hours or something. Every 20 hours, another one, just from one fucking dock. The amount of production that was required to keep up with that. Like, while we were giving Russia all that stuff and fueling two wars
while we
on
had all those
sides
tariffs
of the planet,
against other countries, and we still managed to do that.
Well, we were feeding the whole world and giving the whole world trucks, right? So we're fighting two wars on two different sides of the planet, while giving the starving Russians and the starving Brits enormous amounts of material, while having a surplus back home. Like I was talking about how those German prisoners of war were talking about how much butter they were getting every meal, and they couldn't fathom. They were like, "This is a trick. They're out of butter, and this is the last like." They're emptying the jars.
Were we giving them real butter? Because I prisoners of war, we don't have to torture them or anything, but they should be getting like margarine, not our nice American butter.
The rules were they got the same meal as our troops did.
Boo.
3,500 calories a day that they would get.
3,500
That's a lot.
a day? Yeah, that's like when I'm cutting. That's
that fucking World War II. I just starved in Europe eating beet soup because the Russians had me for a while. Kind of like those guys were coming in. They show their weights when they were checked in and when they checked out. And by the end, the journals represent and the guards are writing like, a lot of the guys have gotten fat and they're embarrassed, so they've started skipping meals.
Yeah, like we have our Polish guy in our hangout.
Yeah,
who I love, great guy. And it's so interesting hearing the Polish perspective on World War II, because the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, which was between the Nazis and the Soviets at the very beginning of World War II, which was about them splitting Poland between each other. And so the Nazis went in, the Soviets went in, they were going to split Poland. And so if you talk to Polish people now, like he'll be like, yeah, the Germans, like they're fine now, but I still don't trust them really. And the Soviets, the Russians can get fucked, despicable, don't like that. And so like they're just, Poland got so uniquely fucked in that conflict.
it's nothing new.
So much, dude. The Slavs have gone through
1790s.
The Slavs have gone through more hell than maybe any other group on earth, just consistently for centuries being fucked with by great powers on all sides.
Poland used to be like 2.5 times bigger. It encompassed all of Lithuania, and it sort of tailed down to the south east with more territories. And they were partitioned by the Habsburgs, the Russians, and the Prussians, I believe. And like it's divide and conquer is all it is. That they've been getting fucked over since 1790.
Hopefully, in 5 to 1 year post conflict, get a good breakdown of like more data of what you're talking about, like how much of the people fighting are conscripts or low trained people. Like what
in
does
World War II, it was massive. Like
right.
I want to say 41% of the United States Army was illiterate,
and all of Russia. Yeah.
Like,
all of the Russian
it was something like that, or maybe 41% had never been to school. Like it was some absurd stat like that. I've been watching World War II documentaries all week. I love that shit. I found like that Amazon Prime has Amazon video, whatever it's called, has like so many really good World War II docs from like 2018 and later. I'm sure you've seen like World War II in color, but there's one that's it's the Pacific in color, and
that's a great one.
And they have color footage that was super rare at the time to even be done, but like they base the show around these weird little bits of color footage that they have from the era. So you get a little bit of that weird backstory of like what a normal person's life was like like the footage is some guy who was on vacation, like a film student in Hawaii. So he's filming hula girls and like people dancing and barbecuing, and then war. He's like, fuck, the war has started, and he's recording. It was really cool.
They're like serious documentaries, because I enjoy those. Like I know the
Very
Pacific in color. I've seen that because, well, like the ones like the History Channel ones, like I don't give a fuck when it's like the Nazis and the satanic.
Oh no.
It's like, well, how about we learn about the tanks? Like that sounds more fun to me than like being like Hitler maybe liked demons, and it's like, well, I definitely don't fucking care. Like what
I watched. No, these.
Come on, show the war.
This isn't the trash. This is I really like the one about the Battle of Midway. I really liked the Pacific in color, and there was one about a specific Japanese island that was difficult to take. Maybe Caraway or Karakai or some
is that
like
Iwo Jima?
No, the island was called Karawai or something like that. It's just this little strip of nothing. Like there's barely trees on it. It's so little. And it's just bristling with guns and bunkers and stuff. Like there's no cover. I can't overstate like how flat and little this little strip that they sent an entire company of Marines or or battalion. They sent 1,500 men like to take it. But it's being held by maybe an equal group of Japanese.
But they were tunneled in, right? Like they
were in bunkers everywhere.
Made a ton of tunnels.
And like one of the interesting little tales of that battle of taking that island, I think we lost 1,000 men, 1,000 Marines taking the island in the end.
Jesus Christ.
And the Marines that were there, they had a few of them still alive somehow. And he was like, by that night, we were so tired and beat down, shot to shit. If they'd attacked us then, they'd have pushed us right off the island. Right into the water, we'd have went, but they didn't. And that next morning, help was coming. And I was like, oh, that's great. But why didn't the Japs attack? And then they go, unbeknownst to the Americans, they had blown up the admiral and his entire command staff the day before. Like someone just saw some guys running, wearing like cool uniforms, and like called them out, spotted them like battlefield, and like a naval gun like blew
There's
up.
a Jap in a cool hat at these coordinates. I think he's important. Like
They literally did that. Like that's the big part of the island. If you can imagine, look how little it is. You can see men at the bottom for scale.
Yeah,
that is a teeny tiny. This would be a small resort.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this is a nice little vacation island. You go spend the night or the day there. Like,
Yeah, I imagine there used to be trees.
Yeah, there were more.
Yeah.
You can see the craters. They bombarded this shit with naval gunfire for like a very long time. I don't remember how long. Maybe a whole hours and hours and hours, thousands of shots. But it's so low they couldn't use their big guns because there's no like drop off. They're just skipping off the ground.
This is such a tiny island. You can literally see specks of people on the other, other shore,
there's
on the
people around
opposite side, like little people. Like that's what a teeny little. And this wasn't Midway. This was a different one.
No, this is. I think is it Caraway or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not Midway. Or
I love World War II stuff, but I want to learn more about World War I stuff.
Tarawa.
World War I is criminally underdone. It's a cool war, and no one talks about it ever.
I like learning about the gas attacks. I like learning about I don't know that it was cool. It's just
interesting. It was interesting seeing the pivot from old style war to new style war.
Yeah, there were cavalry charges into machine guns and barbed wire, and it was like, wait, nope. You just wish that someone had been like, oh shit,
dude, that was
this
a
isn't
huge.
Gonna work.
Yeah, like that was that. That may have even been World War II, or maybe it was World War I. No, it was World War I, like where the Polish like responded to the Nazi armament infantry. Yeah, the winged hussar. They respond against the armament that the Nazis had, and they just got absolutely.
Well, they weren't
apart.
Nazis.
The Kaisers. I'm sorry, I got
those crowd-eating Kaisermen.
Well, no one seems to. What was their thing? No one ever talks about how much they disliked the Kaiser. Probably because you know what, the Kaiser was probably like, people will remember me for 100 years. It's like try 13, bitch, because another guy's going to show up and he's going to.
Remember, World War I was the one where when Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated, there was just because of all of the treaties and pacts between every country in the world. It was like, oh, you're going to war with them, well, we're going to war with you. You're going to war with them, well, we're going to war with you. And it was like, you just wish that there had been telecommunications, because you know that someone could be like, whoa, hang on, let's get on Zoom, guys.
Which war would you rather fight in? All terrible choices. Vietnam jungle, Western Front trenches of World War I, or World War II Bastogne?
Man, I don't recall. Terrible. Tell me about Bastogne. Is that the really cold one?
It was really in Band of Brothers. France, it's right? Super cold. They were in snowy foxholes, and artillery would just come out of nowhere and kill some of you.
Yeah. So you were freezing to death the whole time, getting frostbite, no supplies getting through the lines.
These are terrible options because, like the Bastogne one, if that's the thing I'm thinking about in the Ardennes forest or wherever it was, maybe. I think, like you said, you know, the mortars were coming in, the artillery was coming in, and the trees were splintering and blowing people up. People were getting frostbitten toes and shit. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it seemed like within a day's walk or half a day's walk behind you was a decent sized town with soup and women. But you were out there in that hole. I think I take Bastogne and I fucking desert, because there's somewhere to desert too. I can fucking hurt myself a little, and then I'm over there with the women and the soup. However, if I'm in Nam, oh my God, forget about the snakes and the spiders and the foot-long centipedes crawling about and the ants. They always talk about the ants. Forget about you're sweaty every day, all day, and you haven't had a shower in God knows how long. Charlie's out there, all right? You never know when you're going to step in a hole that's full of punji sticks covered in human shit, and you're going to lose your feet. You never know when you're going to get gut shot out there, and they're not going to realize that you're not dead. They're just going to leave you behind, and you're going to wake up and your intestinal cavity is full of bullet ants or some shit. Charlie's out there, and he's coming for you. I'm not doing Nam. Now, the World War I thing, that trench warfare, everybody imagines the trench perhaps as a dry sort of trench. Yeah. The problem was there's a thing called trench foot, which I don't think was even a thing before World War I. They were like, oh,
they invented trench foot.
They invented a new horrible thing to happen to people in World War I think, called trench foot. All right?
Let's see some pictures of trench foot.
Oh, please no. It's where your feet just stay wet for long periods of times, and they basically just rot off your goddamn body. Now, if that's not bad enough, you've got gas.
Oh,
Right? You've got mustard gas coming in, chlorine gas coming in, blinding you, scarring your esophagus and your lungs. Shell shock it is both synonymous with PTSD and an actual thing that happened because there was so much goddamn shelling during that war. You're stuck in this fighting position, looking at the enemy 300 yards away for years, sometimes at a time. People getting stuck in the barbed wire. Depending on what side you're on, like if you're not facing the chemical attacks, if you're a German, then you never know when the Brits are gonna tunnel up under your position and just blow you the fuck up. I'm not doing that, so I'm gonna take Bastogne, and I'm definitely gonna get shot in the thigh meat on like day one. Like just as soon as they show me my foxhole, I'm gonna wait till I can see the medic. And my sidearm is going to go off mistakenly.
It's going to get your love handle. Oh, shucks.
Fucking the Jerry's got me.
It's just a flesh wound, Kyle. Yeah, but I need my flesh. I'll see you in town. What's the soup of the day?
What's the soup of the day?
I'm going to go with Bastogne too. Man, I just feel like it would be possible to stay warm. Yeah, I've slept in very cold before, and if I just get enough of the stuff, collect some coats off the dead guys, you can make yourself a little heat cabin there. Vietnam, it just seems so inescapable. Also, maybe it's just because I'm American and we kind of romanticize World War II. I believe in the cause. You're there, Battle of Bastogne, trying to free a people from being wiped off the face of the earth. Vietnam, what was the cause exactly? Prevent the spread
of a proxy war with the Soviet Union.
Yeah, built on lies, and I'm not getting into it. And World War One, what Archduke of Ferdinand or something?
Franz Ferdinand.
Why is he my top priority again?
There were a lot of treaties, and that triggered this country to start a war, and then that triggered this country to come in and defend them, and that triggered another country to come in and attack them. And it just became a gigantic mess.
Yeah. It's almost like a schoolyard fight where no one wants to participate. They're all just need to somehow.
No, it's like a hockey fight or a baseball fight where it's like, all right, clear the benches. Fucking Omar beamed another guy. Let's go.
What I like about those baseball fights is like you can see like the guys who are really excited about it, who are like, "Let's go, boys!" Like hopping up, ready to go. And then you can see other guys on the team who are like, "Yeah, let me grab my hat and quick sip of water. Let me take my watch off the bat." And all right, let's. Oh, it's already scrum's almost over. I'll go over there and I'll grab the shirt of two of my teammates and go,
It's pretty crazy that people used to get bayoneted. Like you go out there, shoot your musket, they're getting close, time to bust out the bayonet. Like, I'm pretty glad we don't live in those times anymore.
Oh, that would have been horrible. And then if you get stabbed by it, the doctors are like, nothing we can do. Do you want us to shoot you in the head, or do you want a 2-month, adventure with gangrene?
Is that worse? Like, obviously muskets and bayonets are a pretty awful way to conduct war. No fun. Mm-hmm. But what we got now with drones just taunting you before they drop their munitions, or
when the last bayonet charge was?
Okay, wait. I'm going to guess it's more recent than you'd think. Korea.
Was it like Poland in World War II? What?
Afghanistan. Okay.
The Brits did a legit bayonet charge against the Taliban in Afghanistan. And I've heard U.S. Marines talk about they're pinned down in a hole somewhere taking fire, and the order was given out, fix bayonets. He's like, I've only been in country 3 months at this point. I don't know if this is gonna. I haven't fixed my bayonet since basic. But here we go.
Boss, I hate to tell you, I stopped bringing my bayonet. We haven't been using it.
You're like just running ahead without one, hoping you don't get in trouble. Like,
I got a Leatherman and some duct tape. Best I can do.
Oh, that would be terrible.
If there are any deer, we got this.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I feel like by the time you're fixing a bayonet, you're already in dire straits. Like, things haven't gone as well as they could have already. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be using the bullet part.
Things are broken down. Yeah. I don't know which war is worse to be in. I used to always say World War I because of all that new technology was there and nobody was prepped for it. Like the sword had advanced and the shield had been left behind, as it were. You know, you had mustard gas and chlorine gas. You had barbed wire. You had the flamethrowers. You had tanks, and you had belt-fed machine guns. And we were still fighting the way that we had been fighting 50 years before. The generals were these old school guys who were like, just throw them in it, chap. That'll do the trick. And the Jerrys won't count on that. And they just kept firing their gun for an extra 2 minutes, and everybody died. They'd lose like 50,000 men in a week, shit like that. And then you get the trench foot. You get like trench foot. Your feet are rotting off. You're in that hole living with rats and shit and piss.
I mean, it has to
then
be.
I see those guys.
World War One had like, you get like the notice from your sergeant. You're going over the top into mines and machine guns, and then like it's like, okay, well, here we go, and then everyone just gets wiped. Like legitimately, everyone dies. And they had examples where like, sometimes if the army like, we're not doing it, or like a certain squad would be like, I'm not going out, and then what they would do is they draw names to kill one of them, like, and next time you go over the top, or we're going to keep killing you.
Yeah, they'd execute you for cowardice.
Brutal stuff.
That's old school. That was the practice of decimation.
Well, that's when you
in the Roman legions
of an army.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Comes from
is like after a failed battle or something. If there was a shameful regiment in the Roman military, they would like draw stones or something, and then the other 9 or the other 18 or whatever the math breaks out to would have to beat the other guys to death in their own unit.
Really?
Yeah. It was like, the beatings will continue until morale improves. Sort of stuff. Yeah, it was right. So like we have to qualify it with modern war, because any of those ancient wars would have been a fucking nightmare.
True.
Like you get hit by an arrow in an area that won't even kill you that quickly, and then you go to the doctor and it's a guy wearing a fucking Halloween outfit, like waving sage at you, like chanting. It's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
Your humors are terrible.
We must bleed him, just like how George Washington died. George Washington could have lived for years longer, but he was a believer of leeches. He was like,
sore throat.
I need more leeches.
They weren't just using leeches; they were cutting him. They were bloodletting. They were they took like pints out of him, and they bled him to death.
Vietnam was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a shitty one too.
Like, just being out in a jungle.
There's a hot take.
Well, if we're comparing wars, like I think that World War II, especially in the European theater, it wasn't that bad compared to like the Somme in World War I. Or even maybe some of those Pacific islands, or during World War II, and certainly like, dude, this thing in Ukraine right now, the morale hit it must be to like, imagine you're as fit as you can be, you're as well trained as you can be, you're a fucking ace with a rifle, a machine gun, a mortar, you can do it all. You're the head guy, and then you just hear zzz, pop, and that's it. Some drone just with a fiber optic cable just flew 10 kilometers and blew your ass up, and you had 0.2 seconds warning of sound, and then you exploded, and there was nothing you could do about it. There's no way to get back at that guy. He's 10 kilometers away, loading up his other drone. You know what I mean? Like
when I first saw that, it was so horrifying to me, because take World War II. I feel like being a good athlete, a smart soldier, etc., goes a long way towards keeping you alive and being good at killing people. Right? Like it was like combat. Now it seems like in Ukraine, you die and it's not your fault. You have to exist outside sometimes, and you get spotted by a drone and they drop a nade from 100 feet and you're cooked. And it's just go ahead.
Sorry, I tried to cut you off. Like World War II, Blitzkrieg was pretty brutal. I mean, it was like they just bombed everything with planes. Tons of people die without even knowing what was coming. Then tanks roll through and you just get slaughtered by tanks. And then you'd have giant infantry behind that, but then the war was already over. Like when they showed up, there wasn't even a fight. So I don't know. World War II actually was pretty brutal. I mean, here's the thing: like, if you're gonna die, right? If you're gonna die, the drone way is not bad. It's not bad compared to
the bombing. I kind of didn't count on the bombing in World War II. That's really comparable to the drone warfare that we see now in terms of like you were just. You went to work, you're making your ball bearings, and then suddenly the whole factory's gone. Like you're not even a bad soldier or bad whatever. You don't suck at what you did. You just get snapped off.
Another day at the London ball bearing factory. Nothing will go wrong today.
What's that siren?
Yeah.
At least back when they used to fight with swords, it was like, all right, like if you're a really great swordsman, you're gonna win some fights, you know?
Exactly.
Like, maybe the wrong numbers, but like
the skill gap was there. It kind of relates to games in that way. Like the current warfare doesn't seem very skillful. It seems like it's tech based and position based and luck based. Whereas I think the further
RNG?
you go back,
RNG?
yeah, a lot of RNG. Yeah,
so.
The further you go back, the less RNG though. Like that's why you have something like the Spartans holding the Gap of Thermopylae for days against a way bigger army, where it probably wasn't 1 million men, but it's 100,000 against 300. You know, and they're all just so much better armed, so much better prepared, and just so much better athletes.
Coordinated.
So much
They
better
can hold this
looking.
gap.
Well, Xerxes was
in
also
the movie.
way more jacked. That goes without saying.
And they had trolls.
Yeah, dude, that was the coolest thing about
Some of those
the movie
abs were
300.
mascara. Just saying.
Some of them were, but you know, I'm gonna throw stones at those guys. No,
I said some. I was careful.
They saved Western democracy as we know it. Okay, let's give them their mascara and their femboys.
Well, those were like the most battle obsessed people of all time against like slaves from the Persian Empire, where Xerxes was like, oh, that didn't work, just send like a bunch more of them in. They had to spice it up in the movie, which I loved, where it was just like video game mode, where they had like they were beating different levels, where it's like you beat the beat the low tier infantry,
right?
but can you beat the enormous rhinos? Can you beat the elephant people? Can you beat these magicians throwing weird?
Where did they get Oliphants? This is not even the right movie.
No,
I was watching that, being like, I wouldn't have wasted those elephants like that. I certainly wouldn't let them walk that close to the edge.
That makes sense though, because and they explain it even in the movie. You know, you've got the one survivor who was sent back by what's it, Leonidas?
Leonidas?
To, like tell the story. And he's like pumping it up a little bit, you know. He's clearly telling a campfire tale. Oh, and then the rhinoceros came. He's motivating an army.
And I'm sure, like the original story of Ephialtes, the guy who's like, just that goblin who isn't able to perform with the Spartans, so he betrays them. Yeah. I bet in like the original story, if that was even a character, it's like, and he had kind of a club foot. But like in that, they're just like the most.
He was left-handed,
ghastly. You know, one eye significantly larger than the other.
Yeah, dude, I love 300. When that came out, it was one of my favorite movies when it came out. I was the right age. I remember I had a history teacher who he loved to tell stories, historical stories, and he had told us about that battle with not as much flair as the Zack Snyder movie, but close. And so when I heard that movie was coming out, I remember telling my dad and my cousin, like, this is awesome. I've heard this story before. We got to go see this movie. And we did. We all three went to go watch 300 in theaters. It's great. I remember watching the DVD extras, watching the workout of the Spartans and being like, all right, flip the tire 37 times. Okay.
I remember there's an early scene in 300 where they were establishing the relationship between Leonidas and his wife, and he bangs her doggy style. And something about that hit well with me. I was like, I like it. Thumbs up. All these sex scenes are missionary, or maybe they'll do some sort of cowgirl. You don't see enough doggy representation in the movies, I would argue, but 300 delivers.
Not enough. And then he kicks that douchebag messenger right in the pit. They're like, let's take a casual walk to the kicking pit. And then
I didn't like that part.
Became a meme for a decade.
Yeah, it's like, why would you have that in your town? You know, so we really got to do something about that giant pit. People keep
He's ruined the well, my lord. He's poisoned it with Persians.
You know, if you could have done something else, we got to clean this up. The water's
with a Scottish fucking accent. You bring the heads of kings and crowns of kings. You insult my queen. You do this, you do that. I told you, Persian messengers are responsible for their words in Sparta. And then just fucking kills them all. That seemed a little shitty. Even then, even as a kid, I was like, well, I mean, they are the messengers. Like it's literally a saying, don't shoot the messenger.
Attitude.
We have a saying for this.
I would write that shit down. And then, like, the message would be, under a rock, there's another message that I'm less responsible for. You read that, I'm running south.
I'd start with an apology. King Leonidas the Great. Oh, you're so mighty. I have to apologize for the words of great Xerxes. He's never made a mistake before, and I'm not saying this is one either, but you should read this. I didn't write this. I wouldn't even want to say those things.
That's how I would have come in. I would have seen, like, I'd be like, dude, even their fucking senators are jacked. I'm not I'm not coming in with any attitude. I'm coming in hat in hand. Hey, fellows, just an idea. And you
the real issue was he was trying to publicly embarrass and intimidate Leonidas in front of all his people. If he had privately delivered the message like you guys said, Leonidas maybe lets him live.
Yeah,
probably.
Of course, it's all made up by Zack Snyder anyway. But it's a great story. Yeah, I love that movie, and I love the real story. Whenever I see one of those History Channel documentaries about the Battle at Thermopylae, I always tune in. I love it. I'll tell you what else I've been watching: those Submarine World War II animation videos. I cried today. I cried at one of them today. Let me tell you,
submarine video.
Yeah. So this one wasn't specifically submarines, but
they're so deep and alone.
Hear me out. There's dark down there.
Other ships to keep them company.
Just recycled farts and the guy next to you. We're on a steel can down here. No, this one wasn't specifically submarines. It was the tale of a British boat. So essentially, it was early World War One, or I think one. And the situation was that a German vessel had gotten into the Atlantic unseen by the Royal Navy, and there was a huge merchant fleet that was heading back toward England with 37, I believe, vessels. And they're all civilians. It's a merchant fleet. They're goods, fuel, stuff like that. But not military men, not armed vessels. 37 of them, and amongst them, as sort of a ceremonial or like a token protector, is this boat that used to be a cruise liner. It used to be take the trip to fucking Australia and back with civilians on a cruise liner, and they had strapped 6-inch guns onto it. Okay, they strapped like multiple 6-inch guns, some of them from the 1800s. And this is the defender of this of these boats. Well, they spot this gigantic battleship from German battleship off in the distance. This thing has multiple like 11 or 12-inch guns. It outranges them by like kilometers, and so they flash the lights. Identify yourself to the Germans. Germans don't speak English flashy flash, so they reply back with the same thing. You identify yourself, and the English are like, aha, we know this German ruse. Get them. So they have instantly make the decision what has to be done. The fleet has to scatter. They have to throw up a smoke screen, and the cruise liner with its 6-inch guns from the 1800s has to steam as fast as it can headlong into the German battleship and hold it off as long as it can. And the battle does not go their way. Their guns are so outranged that they don't get to hit the Germans. Ship. The Germans keep their distance and slowly kill the Englishmen. Even when the captain's arm is blown away and his leg is shredded, he refuses to stop commanding the vessel, and he says to keep shooting the guns at maximum elevation. We've got to distract them and let the fleet get away. And in the end, over 30 of the vessels made it because of their sacrifice. And I was getting all teared up.
That's an incredible sacrifice.
When I realized they weren't going. And the worst part was, it was like these were like merchant marines, like they weren't they didn't have military training per se. They had been part of the crew beforehand when it was a goddamn cruise liner.
Oh, so they
many of them were
brought drinks to
employees.
People and snacks.
They got like the original crew manning many of the positions, and to a man.
People should know this story, man. That's unbelievable bravery on behalf of those people.
I felt so, but every one of these stories is kind of similar with like the heroics and the crazy stuff. I don't know how it's on YouTube and not on the History Channel. The History Channel is such a piece of shit for not having cool stuff
those
like that on there.
Cunts
because it's so cheap to make.
It's like Sister Wives instead.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
all right, that's
TLC
different.
is. The Learning
needs nudity.
Channel. Remember the Learning Channel? And now
It used to
it's
be
my
surgeries.
My 1,000-pound sisters or whatever the
Just
fuck.
so for y'all young folks out there, there was a program on the Learning Channel, TLC, called Operation. You know what it
Yeah.
was? It was 45-minute human operation procedures. I saw them like give somebody a cornea transplant, and like I definitely saw someone get their
Appendix removed.
spacing. No, when you get neutered as a not neutered, but fixed as a man.
The vasectomy.
Vasectomy. Thank you. I couldn't think of that word.
I was like, you watched a man be castrated on the Learning Channel?
I couldn't get all
They
circumcised.
made him a eunuch.
It's like that Arab seems pretty Taliban, or that doctor seems pretty Taliban. Damn it.
Dr. La 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 la. No, they just had the operations there. And I
Yeah.
remember sitting with my mother at like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. at night, watching them stitch some lady's fucking cervix up or something, right? It was crazy.
Yeah. Did you ever see the breast implant ones where you
Yes.
where you could almost where it, the nipple and like most of the good boob area was blurred out, but like seeing that as like a 13-year-old on TLC was like,
Hey, dude, check out Channel 5. There's a breast exam on.
Yeah. There was this one. There was
Does
this
Taylor
one
know
show.
that movie? I bet he doesn't.
I don't know.
You don't get that reference. You
No.
really didn't. Woody gets the reference.
It was a good reference, Taylor.
You are when Woody has the reference and gets the fucking friendly chuckle for me, and you're left in the cold. Go watch Office Space. Go watch it.
Oh, I've seen Office Space. I must have just missed
Then
the joke.
you need better
I've seen that.
recall.
You need better recall.
I'm gonna need you to get some Adderall. All right, I'm all drugged up over here, and I'm getting these references.
You're just dude. I'm gonna get on Adderall.
Because like they made this many memory cards look like a filing cabinet full of evidence.
So
And
they just had
meanwhile,
to sit there and
meanwhile-
watch your videos.
They
they just had
had-
to sit there and be like, I bet one guy was like, man, this is a sweet job.
we're gonna leave this guy alone.
These are
Come
good
on.
videos.
Is that a tank? No, and a lot of it was like the B-roll stuff. Like you would take a GoPro with a magnet on it, stick it on the barrel of a tank, turn it on, and let it roll for 3 hours.
Stupid question, Kyle. Have you ever been in a tank? And I ask because I can't tell the difference between a tank and all the things that look
Mhm.
like tanks.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I think the Bradley, right?
Oh,
Or
is that
the
an
Sherman.
APC?
No, Sherman. The
Sherman.
World War II like Sherman tank with might be a 37 millimeter cannon on it.
Hello my friends, it is FPSRussia again, and today we're going to play with a very nice tank here. But first things first, let's get something to eat.
I've been in one of those with the working cannon and shot the cannon and driven over a Jeep, and that was the time when it was like a collector's item. Like obviously these things are rare because they're World War II tanks, but this one's like dressy. Like the stars are painted right, the fenders on these things. You might think, oh, it's a tank. I bet it's tough. Well, the fenders are just like car fenders, the part that like sticks out on the edges. And the guy who owned it was this big bellied guy over there with overalls, arms crossed. I don't know what they told him to let me in this thing. You know, who knows what lies he'd been told, but because there was like a middleman between me and him anyway. And I'm filming with a reenacting crew. These aren't, it's not just a guy. That's Mo. He drives it. It's like, no, that's fucking Gunnery Sergeant Pete Townsend of the 44th Brigade. And like, they're all wearing the exact shit. It looks like Fury. There's pictures of it. I'm sure on my social media somewhere. It's like Fury. They're all in their gear with their helmets and everything. And I'm in that thing, and we're supposed to drive over the edge of this Jeep Grand Cherokee that I've procured for $800. And I want to crush the motherfucker, right? But they're like, slowly go up to it, push up onto it, and then back off. And I'm talking to homeboy that's driving it. I'm next to him. And, he's got his gear on and everything. And I'm like, this is exactly how it would have been, and rolling through the streets of some French town. Look how hard he hit this motherfucker. he hit it full fucking speed. He didn't slow down
ease
a
onto
bit.
it.
I hyped
How
him up
fast?
and he crushed it. It's a tank. So like a couple miles per hour.
Okay, okay.
In reality, like jogging speed maybe, but it's a tank, so it like and I don't know if you can tell from this angle, but that front fender thing there is fucked up on the other side. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's what am I holding there? Oh, I'm holding. See, I've got 2 rounds there. The one on my left is like a solid lead projectile, and the one on the right hand is my right hand. Your like camera left is like a shot shell, which turned out to be completely ineffective even at close range. Just nonsense.
But what does that mean? Like it was a tank shot?
I think it was a round. Yeah. I think it was supposed to shoot a bunch of balls or something. But we shot it, and like I don't think we made contact with the target. We saw a little dust downrange where it like hit the ground a few spots, and it was like that would have scared some folks, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How many times did you shoot it?
I honestly don't remember. We probably had a dozen rounds or something like that. I'm sure. Like those, you could. They're just loading those.
What was it like to get the rounds? How did you procure them? Or did the guy?
Yeah.
bring?
So if the guys who own tanks, artillery pieces, things like that still fire, they load their own ammunition. So they have enormous loading dies, kegs of powder, like out of like video games, the exploding barrels. They've got those. And they'll make their own projectiles, form them out of liquid lead, and make their own bullets. Cause obviously you can't go, get those old rounds anymore. And it requires some special licensing. Like first you've got to have a tank, which is really just a road vehicle in the end. A lot of them have plates on them so you can drive them somewhere. We did that a couple times. But then getting the breech to be live, I think it requires a Type 10, which is very high level. You're able to manufacture destructive devices and make that breech live. And then you just need rounds for it. Like I said, that's kind of a small cannon. I think that's 37 millimeter, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. But I shot a tank destroyer one time, and that thing was like, the bullet was big. Like it wasn't like something you'd hold in your hand. It was like something you support with both hands, like a goddamn child. It's like, this is the fucking bullet that goes in this fucking Hellcat tank destroyer thing. That thing was different.
That was like, was it open top?
That was also like it's called a tank destroyer, but to my eyes, it's like, what's the fucking difference? It's a tank. We're down in this thing with the, you're in it. That one was a lot cooler. That was a more modern piece, like maybe Korea or Vietnam. I'm just guessing. I don't know shit about tanks. That was when we nearly killed Jeremy, because Jeremy was hanging out the top of the tank recording, and I was shooting a plywood hut that we had put a trash bag full of tannerite in. I don't know how much. We just filled a trash bag, like a big, like black trash bag.
How did you shake it? Did you just shake it in the bag?
Wow.
Yeah. And then we like tied a knot in the top, tied a rope to that, held it in the center in the air inside of a plywood hut that was like 2x4s around the corners, begged the crowd to back up, and they refused. And so I got in that son of a bitch and like let her rip, and shit went everywhere. Pieces of 2x4s that like a tornado had like torn them asunder and made them into like lethal splinters that would just right past us. Like I'm down in a tank. I don't give a shit. I've warned everyone.
I'm not sure you wouldn't be liable. Like,
not my.
Hey
tank,
guys, I'm
not my
shooting
land.
toward you.
How many people were there? Like
they didn't move. Not my
15,
fault.
20 at least. 15.
How
20
close were they? When you're like
30 yards behind me, and like up on a ridge, like they were in the blast zone. Like the shit went up there to where they were. They refused. I begged and begged, and I'm like, I'm filming here. They like, we're on public land. This ain't my tank. Like, y'all need to leave. I'm about to blow this shit up. And they were like, let her in.
It's pretty dope.
Usually tried to not have a fucking studio audience for things like that. But I think that the guy that owned the tank like brought all of his buddies to see the show.
What Russian tanks have you been in? The ones with the glowing?
I don't know what it's called. But it's I drove it through this guy's house in Texas. He wanted his house destroyed because he was building a bigger, fancier mansion, and he also owns the APC or whatever it is. It has a cannon, but it's not operational, or at least it was at the time. They hadn't gone through the paperwork and everything of making it fire. But the gauges in that thing were radium. I think the gimmick we did there was I drove through the house at like full speed, and then at one point I parked in the house, and then we were trying to blow the house down onto me, so we set charges all in the house and like blew the house down. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
See, that's a good shot from the drone there. That's Richard Ryan's work. Richard was on the drone. Yeah, Richard Ryan's on the drone there.
Why is the explosion coming out of the roof like that?
Because we set the charges on the second floor.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 charges on the second floor. Those charges are I don't know the exact mixture, but it's there's some plastic explosive and I think it's all plastic. It's mostly plastic explosive, but it's against water barrels, and it's hyper pressurizing that water and creating those jets that you're seeing blow everything out. So everywhere you see like a cloud of vapor, that's the water being used to send everything flying. It's a lot safer than the alternative, which would,
I didn't realize it was on a river when I saw the video.
Oh, that's a little
yeah.
It's a nice place.
There's a sick pool in the backyard that like overlooks that little valley, and that's his river. It flows into a big lake that he's got. The lake is full of like these giant inflatable obstacles to like ride your jet skis around.
That house was nice, wasn't it? Before you blew it up,
that was technically a mobile home. So they brought that in a modular. That's a modular home. See, that is that's because Dale Earnhardt lived for a long time in what's called a modular home. They bring it in sections and stick it together, and because he wanted a nice place fast at one point when he got all that money, but they were destroying that to build a very legitimate mansion, I'm told. I was watching a thing yesterday about, and I didn't know this, but we captured so many Germans during World War II in the North Africa campaign. The guys who fought under Rommel, who'd been pushing the Brits around, we showed up and beat the fuck out of them, and we captured like 300,000 of them or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And I always thought that our prisoner of war camps were maybe over there in friendly countries, or like the area we captured in the rear echelon or whatever. Like they're back there. We boated them to the USA and kept them in like Michigan or something like that.
Really? We did.
We had hundreds of thousands of German POWs in this country. And I watched this thing where they talked about how they were reversed brainwashed when exposed to American culture. Like they got on the Liberty ships that we were baking one every 42 hours, by the way, at peak. We'd crank out a boat every 42 hours. On that boat that was bringing them back, they had K rations, which our troops would complain about. But in that K ration is chocolate, sugar, coffee, cigarettes, processed cheese, meat, things that they'd been living on bullshit like sea biscuits for weeks, starving to death with dirty water, and they hadn't had coffee since the war began. They get on the Liberty ship, they have K rations and an ice cream machine. So then they got to the POW camp and they were prepared to be starved to death. They'd been told the Americans are brutal. The lies about their opulence and their big economy and the production is all just propaganda. And they got here and they were like, candy bars. That the guard told me that any child could buy one for a nickel, whatever that is. He gave me a candy bar. It's a thing so precious. He gave it to me, and it had nuts in it. Real nuts. And then they were like, they had icy cream at the POW camp, I guess. And it was just like, you can imagine, they're like licking their ice cream, singing like, we were the baddies.
And some poor guys in like Japan having like bamboo shoots grown slowly under his fingernails, and we were giving him ice cream.
I didn't know we boated them over here. That's crazy.
I had never heard.
Why Michigan?
POWs.
Like you get
it
here
may not have been
Like,
Michigan. That's the state that's in my head, though. Let me see where we kept it. Where in U.S.
We boated them over directly to a McDonald's. We dropped them off at McDonald's. And we said, "You go ahead. You have whatever you want. We give you a $10 gift card."
We were playing the long game.
So we had 425,000 Germans that we brought here and kept in over 700 prison camps throughout the United States during World War II. So they were all over Texas, Colorado, Oklahoma, Iowa, Virginia, and Arkansas, according to this. So a little SEC action for the most part.
They're in the SEC other than Colorado. Damn. That seems like a huge amount of effort. Like if I were in charge, I would have been like, no, we're not using our Liberty ships for this. We're going to build a little shanty town here, and they can, we'll trick them with the ice cream we have left, but no, we're not shipping them all the way to Michigan and then shipping them back in 8 months when this is over.
Oh, speaking of, please go. I was going to ship something else. Please continue.
Oh no, I also wonder if what Kyle was saying was like they were doing it on purpose. If they were psychologically trying to turn them and be like, hey, like there's no need to fight against this. Look what we got, processed cheese. Like, check it out.
It was true. It wasn't manipulative. It really.
No, I know, not at all.
It wasn't manipulative. It was true. It was like, look, we didn't want to fight you anyway. Hitler declared war on us. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like we agreed to fight the Japanese after they bombed us, and then Hitler had this agreement with Japan that was sort of misunderstood, and he was like, war on the U.S., which made it really easy for FDR to start shipping troops into Europe. Like, what a fumble that was.
Yeah.
He was probably pretty pissed at Hirohito. That was his name.
No, FDR loved that Hirohito started the war. He may have even conspired to allow it to happen. Oh, Hitler? Yeah.
Yeah, Hitler would have been pissed.
They didn't coordinate. There's this, I think her name is Sarah Payne. I don't know her credentials, but she's an incredible historian. I see her do these talks and podcasts, and she talks a lot about Japan and the early days of World War II. And one of the things was how Japan and Germany just didn't trust each other. They were sort of frenemies. And so, like, Japan really needed a supercharged engine for their planes. The Germans had one. It was like the best one, but they wouldn't get it. The Germans or the Japanese really needed torpedoes, maybe, and the Germans had the best torpedoes of the day, but they didn't tell each other that. Like, there was a lot of that going on, not working together and sharing where their technology was leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else.
And they were both like using their secret Morse code to send insults about Mussolini, I bet.
I'm thinking about it though. Like, wasn't Russia originally on Hitler's side?
They
originally agreed to. Wasn't it the something Ribbentrop Pact?
They had a non-aggression pact, and Russia had already, I think they were already in control of some territories they weren't supposed to. But obviously, I think Hitler thought that he had won the war in the East when he started. I think it's Barbarossa was his when he attacked Russia. But to hear those commanders talk, they're like, there's nothing in front of us, nothing behind us, and the enemy continues to retreat. Like, it's thousands of miles they've progressed now, just chasing the Russians, bleeding themselves dry and extending their supply lines. And all the while, the Russian winter is coming.
Well, no, but before that, I think the Russians and the Germans were on the same team or had
correct.
An alliance.
Yeah,
I only mentioned it because I can see why maybe Hitler didn't want to give their stuff to Japan after already an ally flipped to the other team.
Well, they did flip the other team. Hitler declared war on them.
Ribbentrop.
Yeah, I think that was going to say.
Hitler turned on them.
Basically betrayed them. It was like, yeah, well, you know what? We'll be friends in this. And then, I mean, that's what Hitler did. He took over everything. He was like, nah, fuck it, I'm going to take over everything. And so then all the other countries around, and he almost
they were only
did.
stymied at Stalingrad.
They tried to make Russia the 51st state.
Their pact was basically to be like, all right, Soviets, Nazis, we're going to look the other way, and we're going to split what is now modern day, like Poland, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. And, Bulgaria, you guys can have your side of it. We're going to have our side of it. And then how about we just like agree to expand our empires? And then, that
Hitler changed his mind. Yeah, Hitler changed his mind, and he said, "Never mind, it's all mine. I want it all."
Sarah Payne described it as Hitler was ashamed of his need for an agreement with Stalin, that they were so opposed philosophically that it was shameful for him to have to deal with Stalin, a fascist sort of
communist. Yeah.
Well, both. He's both. Fascism isn't necessarily a political organization; it's more act of will and like the way they run their government, but he didn't want to do business with a commie, and he was sort of in a way ashamed or embarrassed that he had to sort of make sure his back was protected. So when he thought he had the eastern area covered, he went ahead and attacked Russia, which seems like a huge blunder because it was.
Yeah,
but he almost got him.
That's why the Nazis spent so much effort on the Hugo Boss outfits, because Hitler was like, all right, if I have to make ends meet with this commie, I've seen what his soldiers are dressed like, total schlubs. Our guys are going to look nice. And so that's where he got his little private victory.
Maybe. I have read that. Yeah. I have read that somewhere.
Have you ever seen this movie dressed like the Soviet soldiers in World War II dressed up? Every single one of them looks like one of those Korean guys in like some previous, now dead Soviet soldier's much larger coat.
It's always brown and drab, and it doesn't look like a uniform. All right, so here's the thing about the Russian military. The Soviet/Russian military, you didn't use socks until very recently, like maybe the 70s is when they started wearing socks, because they'd always use these foot wraps. There's a technique for wrapping your foot in a cloth that is as good as socks, if you ask a Soviet. Yeah, it wasn't until maybe the 70s when they introduced the first socks for their troops.
That's all. I'm like, I guarantee I'm doing my foot wraps and I get 3 steps into the march and I'm like, it's just a tangled mess down there.
I came off again.
Sorry, everyone. We have to wait.
Taylor
I
has
just
a
imagine some
blister.
podcast in
Yeah.
2175 being like, they didn't move to toe socks until recently, like 2100.
Toe socks.
Yeah, they're all wearing those goofy mountain climber shoes.
I'm always interested in those when I see them, but I can just imagine you ever stub your pinky toe against something at night, how bad
Mhm.
that hurts. I'm just imagine like jogging through like a forest trail and getting that bitch hung on a root.
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen someone in public wearing those?
Yeah.
Not in public.
Like
I have definitely seen. Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
it's like it's worse than pajama pants somehow. Where it's
it
like
is weird.
Of
Everybody
course
hates
it's
them.
worse than pajama pants. How dare you? How dare you? Like I didn't detect that
Taylor
little
realize how
slight.
offensive this is to
My
the Myers
pajama
family?
pants are in the
you wear
21st
pajama pants
century.
out of the house?
First, well, you know, the pajama jeans. I don't know, a bunch of women working together on something. I just don't know if they're going to be able to
Never works.
get a list
Mhm.
together. It just seems
Yeah.
like, oh no,
We'll
it
get
was this guy.
catty.
That's true. Look at how long it took them to fucking deliver the mail in that World War II movie they made. Like when they put all the girls in charge, everybody was getting incorrect mail. You know, it wasn't good. It wasn't
I mean,
good.
you can't argue with Taylor's logic, probably.
True. I didn't watch the movie, nor did I read the story.
I don't even know
Yeah.
the movie you're
If
talking
I'm gonna
about.
watch a movie,
They made a
about-
movie about women delivering the mail
There's a
during World
bunch
War
of
II.
black women who were like, they're like, Hank from Breaking Bad is like looking all stressed out as a general in his office in the trailer, and he's like, World War II, and I'm in charge of mail. And he's like, this is a big deal, guys. We need to get the mail to the front lines, and it's getting there too late. And then a bunch of sassy ladies get it done.
And when you hear him speak, you'll realize he's not making his mind up about something. He'll read from contradictory sources. For example, you're like, well, when we're discussing the rape of Nanking, it's like, okay, so here's what these people say happened. Here's what these people say happened. And here's what these people say happened. Here's the evidence. Here's a missionary who was there in Nanking, a white Westerner, and what they said happened. Here's this, and you draw your own conclusions. Then he'll be like, look, these numbers go from 1,000 to 100,000. And just so we're clear, the 100,000 isn't the highest number that people claim. Some people say it was 5 million. It's just when the Japanese went into China, they killed for a decade. When they raped Nanking, as it's called, it wasn't like, he compares it to the Assyrians taking a city and how 3 days of barbarism and the city fell. And, you know, burning, raping, pillaging, killing the dogs and cats, raping the boys, raping the women, killing all the men, slaughtering everything. And then the king tells the story of how I levied the rivers and allowed them to flood the city. It was nothing but what was before a sprawling metropolis was now a flooded meadow. Nature itself could not have wrought such destruction upon my enemy. And it's like, holy shit. But when you get to Nanking, 3 months of occupation and not just hanging out, raping and killing. For 3 months, they stayed in this gigantic, the capital of China at the time, and just raped and murdered and tortured and killed. And they go through like the eyewitness testimony of the Westerners and what they saw, like all of the ways they found bodies, the conditions that they were in. And it's just everything you can imagine, cut apart, dissected, split down the middle, split in half, just all sorts of evil.
What was the build the Sector 7, something like that in World War II?
Oh, Unit 731?
Unit 731, that's what it was.
Yeah. And also a thing that I didn't know was the Japanese were extremely, they believed that they were the master race of Asians. They thought that
they still do.
They believed it enough that the extermination of those people seemed like a good idea, and the subjugation of them that, you know, seemed like a good idea.
One of my close friends is she's Asian, Chinese, and like born in China and then grew up mostly here. And she'll like every once in a while, if someone asks, they'll be like, what's the racism situation like over in Asia? And she'll just be like, oh, like so much more than like white people could handle. Like white people are so sensitive about all that shit. Like she'll be like, yeah, the Japanese, they think they're, you know, the cat's pajamas. They think they're at the tippity top. And then, you know, the Chinese think they're at the tippity top. So I think we're a little better than the Japanese, you know. They got one over on us a few times, admittedly, but you know, I think we're number one. And then I'd say Koreans probably rank 3. And then someone asked her, was like, what about like Thailand, Laos, the Philippines? And she's like, oh, us, the Japanese and the Koreans all could not care less about the jungle Asians. We're all better than the jungle Asians.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I've heard that term before.
Yeah.
And the record is worse than that for the Japs and the Chinese, like 1v1s, because
it goes back so far.
Genghis Khan's grandson, Kublai Khan, was the leader of China. He was sitting on the throne of China at the time. And he was the one who started that first invasion of Japan, where they were going to send 50,000 troops or something by ship across the gap and there was a massive storm, sunk their fleet, and they called it the divine wind, the tsunami, and then or not tsunami,
typhoon.
It was a storm, but the divine wind is kamikaze. That's the word. That's the word.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It means divine wind. And so
what's your next era?
I mean, it's going to take me so fucking long just to cover the Japs in World War II. I probably got another 20 hours of that.
Does part of you want to go like super ancient with it? Like the Babylonians?
I want to hear Kyle become a Vietnam expert. I think that's interesting.
Well, they touch on Vietnam as it pertains to Japan and colonialism, because the French had been fighting in Vietnam for a long time, right after World War II. Their fight sort of begins in like 51 or so in Vietnam.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like Vietnam. Sucks. Vietnam's no fun. You've got so much political American shit where like nobody's resolute in what we're trying to do, and you've got just a boring war. Just not a fun war.
Understand how we were so heavily committed, yet somehow fighting with one arm behind our back, and what the logic was for the way that we did this, and
public opinion, getting reelected.
Yeah, that's a challenge. Winning wars with a democracy.
Yeah,
winning wars
when they're winning very unpopular wars.
Yeah, when you look at how
trying to maintain popularity.
I mean, when wars are won, it's nasty. It's a war. It's bad. People get bayoneted in the streets. We talk about the American soldiers quickly trying to rush the battlefield so they could execute all the dead Japanese before the officers could call them off. Because if you tried to deal with them, they almost always had a grenade in their hand. Or
remember that grenade in fucking the
true story.
You guys don't like it as much, but the Band of Brothers Japanese version,
Pacific.
Yeah, Pacific.
Yeah, I've seen it multiple times, and a lot of the stuff that's happens in the Pacific are straight from real accounts. The guy cutting the teeth out of the guy's head, like that really happened.
That makes sense. They were using real gold. You may as well, make a little money
while the guy was still alive.
Okay, well at least kill him.
With a knife. Yeah, and paying no mind to him screaming as the knife missed as he butted it into his mouth.
I think he's at risk of getting bit.
Yeah,
he's got a big fucking knife.
I don't want to brag, but I would have killed him first. That's just my morals.
I don't want to brag, but I'd have used my Leatherman pliers if I was there.
You'd be like,
a way better tool.
All right, Tojo, this is going to hurt you more than me.
This Woody guy's a psychopath. He's not even keeping the teeth.
That was a regular tooth. I know.
I'm excited for you to bounce around past World War II, and then I want to learn more about like Babylon, Assyria, those ancient Persia, the ancient Greeks. It's such a cool time, and there's so much to learn. Does he not do stuff about those eras?
All of that. The next thing is going to be Alexander the Great. I want to learn about Alexander the Great because he seems like almost a fictional character. He's such a badass. Like he's conquering. Did he win his first battle? He's 16 or something. Like
dude, he makes you feel like a loser. Like they show like images of what he conquered and how much there was, and it's like, here's what he had after his 85th battle at the age of 21.
Well, we're going right back to Nazi Germany. After the fall of the Third Reich, many high-ranking Nazis and their families fled Germany to the South American refuge of Argentina. There, many of them lived out their days in peace in small communities that were almost entirely of Germanic descent. In these communities, they spoke German and often did very little to hide their former identities. However, some of the more notorious Nazis, to include Adolf Eichmann, who, of course, was the architect of Hitler's final solution. He was later captured, of course, by Israeli Mossad agents and sentenced to death. One of the few death penalties in Israel's history, I believe. Maybe the only. Joseph Mengele also fled there.
a Nazi doctor who performed a gruesome human experiment at Auschwitz death camp. He lived out the rest of his life in South America and died of natural causes in 1979. Lived a pretty full life. Walter Ralph also
he actually would have gotten to see Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
thought I'd put that out there.
How
for
can
you
you forget that classic? John Travolta just really breaking it. Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm not gay. Yeah.
Fucking Rizzo, the whole thing. Walter Ralph, another noted Nazi, who his note to fame was that he created the mobile gas chamber by modifying. Yeah, Walter Ralph. He created the mobile gas chamber by modifying large cargo trucks to divert their exhaust into airtight chambers in the rear that can hold up to 60 people. He lived in South America.
Mobile gas chamber thing.
Well, I'm bringing it to you right now. This is hot off the presses from 1943. He lived out the rest of his days in South America until his natural death in 1984. These are but a few of the many, many high-ranking and powerful Nazis who escaped justice, if not for the rest of their lives, then at least for many, many years. But what of Hitler? We're told that he killed himself in his bunker in the final days of the war and commanded that his and his newly married wife, Eva Braun's body were to be burned. So that they might not be taken as trophies or displayed publicly, as was the body of Mussolini. Hitler had seen this and didn't want the same to happen to him, we're told. But why? Why not attempt to escape the same way so many of his underlings and compatriots would? Fleeing to South America had been the escape plan of the Nazis for several years. As soon as the Soviets started invading, a lot of Nazis saw that the writing might indeed be on the wall, and they started making plans. The routes, the methods, the funding to do so had been put in place for years. I put forward that, in fact, Hitler, a man who employed body doubles and excelled at propaganda, did in fact fake his own death and escape, like so many others, to Argentina, where he likely lived out the rest of his life in hiding under an assumed identity. The Soviets, of course, known for their truthfulness, they claimed that they captured Hitler's supposed remains not long after his death, just outside his bunker in Berlin. They were, by all reports, badly burned and amounted to little more than bone, teeth, and a severely burned body that was described as mostly mush that was unrecognizable as a human. However, they did not use these as trophies. Rather, they hid them away and eventually destroyed them. The few samples of the skull that remained were DNA tested eventually and found not only to not be Hitler's, but to not even be the skull of a man. We are left to believe that in Stalin's version, yes, that's absolutely a truthful thing. You can Google that. Stalin's version of it was a woman's skull. It was not Hitler's skull. It was a woman's skull. Stalin's version of events.
Hitler was a woman?
Yes.
Whoa,
Kyle. This is a conspiracy.
God damn it.
Kyle, if you can discern someone's sex from their skull after death, that would mean that gender is real. And so
you're assuming gender.
So we're left to believe Stalin's version of events, a man well known for his deception of the people and pro-Soviet propaganda. He'd tell all sorts of lies, things that would make the Soviets look good, the West look bad. Meanwhile, however, throughout the middle of the last century, the CIA, Mossad, MI5, and KGB all had files of claims that Hitler was living in South America, and they pursued them actively. If Adolf Hitler killed himself in Berlin, asks one, why were the world spy services still looking for him into the middle of the 1950s? It was reported by dozens of news reporters in September of 45 that British MI5 were hunting Hitler, who had reportedly been altered by a plastic surgeon. They also ran comments by the deputy mayor of Berlin, who was convinced that Hitler was alive. Such was the persistence of these claims that 1 month later, the Supreme Allied Commander Dwight Eisenhower suggested that yes, Hitler might still be alive. In fact, there were multiple reports that Hitler was living with his old comrades in Argentina, having by some accounts been spirited out of Berlin, flown to a German air base in Denmark, and then taken across the Atlantic by U-boat. The Fuhrer, one FBI file reported, had arrived at his Argentinian ranch hideaway by horseback. Luftwaffe Captain Peter Baumgart claimed that he flew Hitler and Braun to safety in Denmark on April 28th, 1945, stopping overnight in Magdeburg due to an Allied bombing. Made during his trial for war crimes in Poland in December 47, Baumgart's story was reported in newspapers throughout the entire world. Why would a man on trial for his life admit to further crimes that were new information to the court?
Being tortured.
Okay. So in conclusion, one of two things are true. Either we believe that the Soviet version of events and assume that one of the world's most powerful men who'd survived 6 assassination attempts, who employed body doubles and was very secretive, died at his own hands in defeat, or we believe the evidence to the contrary that are in our own common sense. Hitler did not die in 1945 and likely lived out the rest of his days in relative comfort and luxury in Argentina amongst friends and loved ones.
That's interesting.
Mm.
I don't buy it though.
What a nice story.
Seems like it would be
Happily
very
ever
difficult
after.
to get out of where he was in that bunker.
My take on it is
Everybody else escaped.
Hitler was
Surrounded.
kind of famous.
No, they were not. They weren't surrounded because everybody left.
but he wouldn't.
But the rest of them were turned into the Nuremberg trials. They didn't escape.
Not the people in the bunker. I just gave you a list of the people who escaped. They were all there at the bunker too.
There were some hardcore people that did get out.
No one recognized him for the next 50 years of his life or whatever there was left.
They claim plastic.
Did he
surgery.
have a razor? If he had a razor, I believe he was able to escape.
Yeah, my
As
name.
long as he just whoosh that fucker off. You would not recognize Hitler without his mustache.
That's true. He probably looks like a normal ass dude without the mustache.
Yeah, that one move, and you just don't even look like
He
the guy.
spent the rest of his life acting under the pseudonym Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah. My name is Miguel. I am from Argentina. Yeah, no.
I am Peter Julava.
I'm pretty sure Charlie Chaplin was the one who was like, "This bastard stole my mustache."
Look.
More than the other one. Have you ever seen the Whitest Kids You Know episode where they send Charlie Chaplin to go? I think they're like charging. Oh, I know what it is. The Allies are at Hitler's bunker, and they're like psyching themselves up, like, "All right, boys, this is it. Hitler's in there. Let's go take him." And they rush in, and it's Charlie Chaplin, like doing his whole bit with the cane and the hat and everything. And they're like, "That's not Hitler. That's Charlie Chaplin." And you're like, "Oh my God, they really think it's Charlie Chaplin." And then Charlie Chaplin's like reaches, like, you know, he's doing the mime thing. He's like reaches over like for the Allied soldier's gun, and he's like, yeah, and he goes and like kills all fucking 3 of them. And you think, Hitler got the best of them. And then Hitler walks out of the back and he goes, "Thank you, my greatest friend, Charlie Chaplin." They're both fucking there.
See, that's the conspiracy I want to hear. But also, you raised a lot of interesting points there. I like it. I'm interested by it. And I have an inherent want to believe in conspiracy theories.
And that Hitler is still alive. I understand, yeah.
Dude, if Hitler were alive right now, wouldn't he be like 100?
Oh, not still alive. I shouldn't say that. He survived.
Oh, no, he's still
You ever watch that movie? You ever watch the movie Boys from Brazil?
Oh, no. Yeah.
That's a sick movie. So the premise of that is that they have cloned Hitler, and they have like, I don't know, 80 Hitler clones, these little boys, and they have placed them in similar social conditions as Hitler grew up in. Like his father has the same job. He's like a civil servant. The mother is like a housewife or something, like whatever Hitler grew up in, like income and everything. And they're placed throughout the fucking world. And they were created in Brazil by this scientist. And this guy gets to the bottom of it. He finds out
Dr. Mengele that actually got it together. Yeah. Gregory Peck.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. Yeah.
Is this a movie or is this something?
It's a movie. It's a movie. It's like a Hollywood movie, and it's really fucking good. And there's a guy going around trying to kill all the little boys. And I think Gregory Peck is. And then there's a guy trying to prevent him from doing it. It's fucking good.
Yeah, Gregory Peck is Dr. Mengele, and he's like in charge of the whole thing. And they decided, or they figured out scientifically that if you just cloned Hitler and grew him up, that he wouldn't turn into Hitler unless he lived the same kind of life. So the father died when Hitler was a kid. So they had assassins go around and shoot the father of all these kids that they placed in certain situations around the world. They had to go through the whole thing of making Hitler's life like it was. And then someone found out, Simon Wiesenthal or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I love that one. There's one line where Dr. Mengele, Gregory Peck, is at a big party in Brazil, and there's Nazis everywhere, and the place is done up like Berlin. And this ugly woman says something to him, and he just goes, "Shut up, you ugly bitch!" And it's delivered perfectly. Gregory Peck, you might remember him from fucking To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, just a brilliant actor saying, "Shut up, you ugly bitch." Yeah, catch it if you can. It's probably on Netflix.
It's good. It's fucking good.
Yeah.
Now, Kyle, are we to believe that Hitler escaped and didn't try again?
I think he saw the
He
jig
was
up.
motivated.
You know, I think that he did have a lot of illnesses. I think he had Parkinson's, and he was also addicted to several substances, a methamphetamine derivative being one of them. So I think that he just retired, you know?
I don't know, man. It's hard to retire. Be like George Foreman. He's coming back. You know, he's coming back again.
To be honest, I put more faith into doctors who are into butt stuff than Hitler lived for another 40 years.
I literally, no jokes aside, do not. That's how unlikely that doctors are into butt stuff. Although
the Hitler thing I have heard for quite a while. It's one of those things that people have brought up for decade after decade. So
mark my words.
While I think it does have some validity,
first.
It does have some validity, I believe. But I think there's more proof that he didn't than there is proof that he did.
The main piece of proof is that they claim that they have some of his teeth, and that his dentist was like, "Oh yeah, that's his teeth," and it's like,
what Nazi teeth? Yeah.
Those look like Nazi teeth to me. Yeah. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh no, I didn't watch that.
That's a good movie. It's what Inglourious Basterds should have been.
Isn't
it's
a
a special,
real big actors in that?
Yeah, there's several. Like, it's got a great cast. But Henry Cavill's kind of leading. It's got that big fucker from Reacher and Blue Mountain State. He's in it.
Alan Richson.
Yeah, they're basically a group of like badass Nazi killers who are unapologetically murdering Nazis on a secret mission for the British government and Winston Churchill. Lots of
well, that sounds pretty cool.
It's like an old school action movie. Lots of like big, strong men beating up Nazis and shooting them with machine guns and flamethrowers and blowing them up.
I'm trying to see what pretty girl do they have in this? Who is Isa Gonzalez? Let me take a look. Let me see if this. She's pretty, but she's not starring in a World War II movie.
Are you trying to jerk off to this World War II movie? Like, what does it matter?
I'm trying
to.
I prefer if there's no women. Remember Saving Private
Ryan? You think
Ryan?
I'm sorry. Listen to this guy. I shouldn't bust.
Taylor's
I don't
making
need
strong
women in a
points.
war movie.
Yeah.
No, that was good. I like that movie a lot.
Saving Private Ryan had women in it.
Well, there was that
Didn't
French
they fuck
mother
him
who
in
was
France or something?
No, you're thinking
Were there
Fury.
any women outside of like the nurse part?
I'm thinking of Fury. Maybe I am.
The tank movie with Shia LaBeouf, Brad Pitt, and the Punisher. All those people, they fucked those French women. Yeah, they essentially like raped them in their house. After
it was like they had
food.
consensual sex because unconsensual sex was on the table too.
Because of the implication,
right?
Yeah. It was literally the implication played out to the backs. I do not care for that scene and like that one bit. But Saving Private Ryan, there's no women. Maybe at the beginning, there's that part where Bryan Cranston has one arm and like he finds out that like the Ryan boys have been killed. You know, like
Cranston is in that early?
Yeah, with one arm.
Huh.
He said he was talking to Spielberg and he's like, "Yeah, I got this idea, you know, because I have one arm. I figure I'd be toddling my tea like this, and then I put it down and I and he's like, "Great. We're not going to do that.
We're going to make this movie fun. We're not
going to pick up the paper." But yeah, there's no women like characters. There's that French woman who passes her child down to them, you know, right before the sniper takes out Vin Diesel. But
Yeah,
other
poor
than that,
Vin
not really.
Diesel. He got fucked up.
It's got blood on it. Here's a letter from my dad.
There's
blood on it. Like, that's the least of your troubles. You've been shot badly. That was a sad scene. That was a great movie. But
Dude, it was a sad
in-
scene, but I think they really did do that. They used the dying soldier as bait to get more soldiers.
Sure.
And some of the stuff that World War II, when I was a child, I watched these World War II movies. And I told my father that I wanted to learn to tap dance in case I ever joined the Navy. That was the kind of movie that I saw, that like World War II was this heroic, almost fun thing, right? Like it was a blast and we always won. No one ever died from our side. And it was sort of good times. Saving Private Ryan drops. And all of a sudden it's like, holy smokes. Imagine how horrific it was to be the first landing party. I don't know how accurate that was, but like to face those machine guns, like it was unfair.
It had to have been pretty accurate.
The only inaccurate part is the bullets through the water. The rest of that's like spot on.
Like the Germans kind of were pretty awesome at machine guns at the time. And so that would have been a hellish thing.
Was their coverage that good that they landed the ships right in front of machine guns, that there wasn't a spot where you could kind of not be so close?
I think they went pure numbers mode where they're like, we deliver enough people here, they can't stop all of us. Like, just fuck them up. I think on one of the northern shores is where the Canadians landed, and the Canadians got absolutely destroyed.
I think that was
and it was southern Normandy where the Americans landed and had success.
In any case, it was the first time I think I had seen World War II just like as a tough experience. Prior to that, it looked like a really good time.
Yeah, so the Utah Beach was the Americans, Omaha Beach was Americans, Gull Beach was the Brits, Juno Beach was the Canadians, and Sword Beach was the Brits again, and the French commandos.
Didn't the Canadians sustain absurd casualties at Juno Beach then?
It looks like the Omaha Beach was the worst, and that was the Americans. I don't remember what beach that is from D-Day, but I always heard like they would say that veterans who saw it were like, that's what it was like. Fuck. Like,
you know what? France should send us another Statue of Liberty, like just as thanks.
I want a mech warrior Statue of Liberty.
I feel like
Statue of Liberty Prime.
Either us or the Chinese would have to engineer that. Probably us. We're better.
It would be who better than the to make a mech warrior? It's in their blood.
That's fair. That's fair. They're solid at that kind of shit. Yeah,
I was hoping
and now we have the
wars would involve mechs. Like all my like sci-fi and comic book stuff led me to believe we would have some sort of a mech warrior or like some sort of exosuit, like an Alien at least, like that.
We're skipping that, right?
We probably have
taking the people out of the war.
Yeah,
making it more droney.
I think Woody's on the money. Like we're skipping that potentially cool phase and going straight to, dude, like future wars, if this drone shit continues, is going to be like national Pokemon battles where it's like we're sending all of our drones against all the Chinese drones. Oh, we defeated them. Awesome. Sick. Now
they always find a shield for every sword. My guess is that before too long, the governments of the world will find some sort of an EMP pulse weapon that a soldier can aim and fire and just blank the sky. Or you could have a machine that just blanks the sky out of all electronic drones. They'll come up with something.
That's a horrifying idea, because if you can really blank the sky of that tech, you force people to return to horrid forms of warfare, which is
this is worse. The casualties are higher at this. Like
this is pretty horrid. Yeah. What would be worse than this?
Oh, it would be like people having to fight and die instead of drones.
Oh, well, I think it kind of is drones on people now, but I get what you're saying. If it was drones on drones, then that just becomes a money battle.
Yeah. Then it's just, Pokemon typeface. Like you just figure out what they're doing. But otherwise, that's a tough situation to be in.
I tune in to combat footage every now and then on Reddit to see what's going on with the drone warfare, if it's advanced or changed at all. I have seen more of those land drones. It looks, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a 4-wheeled vehicle with a 50 caliber machine gun on it, and that thing's pretty goddamn formidable. I would be
really.
I mean, where do you shoot it? I don't know. I bet it's covered with armored steel, and it's got a 50 caliber machine gun that some jabroni is like VR goggling 5 kilometers away, and he's just boop 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 boop, and that would be. I've operated one of those before, like a remote controlled 50 cal machine gun with a viewfinder.
I think it was Modern Warfare 2.
It was Texas for me.
Okay.
And I just remember thinking, like, man, if there was a group of guys over there across this lake, they'd be in a lot of trouble, and I would be in zero trouble. I'm completely safe, tucked in behind this cover. And
most recently, I've been doing a lot of television. We're chasing down Nazis in South America, which is fun. Yeah, it's way better than pirates.
What?
That's a thing? There's still Nazis in South America?
Yeah, they're really old, so it's kind of depressing. Like,
is that true?
Yeah, it's like
you're creeping up on Nazis. They're in walkers.
No, they're not even in walkers. They're like in their deathbed. And then you're like, oh, hey, all that stuff that you gave to your kids and your grandkids, we're gonna go ahead and assume all of those assets because you're a horrible person and you shouldn't have lived this long. You should have died 60 years ago, but whatever.
Kyle,
wow. Yeah, some good old sins of the father, biblical shit. We know you had nothing to do with it, but sorry, go into the slums.
Yeah. Well, they'll never really be in the slums, but I don't really feel that guilty. 7 million Jews is kind of a lot of Jews.
I'd say too many. Yeah.
You gotta go out on a limb there.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to make that a stance, but I honestly, until the last 30 seconds, I would have put money that you were joking about the Nazis in South America thing.
No, not joking.
Wow.
No.
Nazis. There's how old? They have to be in their 80s, right?
90s.
90s.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Man, this ties back to my if you live an absolutely terrible life, but it works out for you until 93, it might have just worked out for you, period. Right? What's he going to get jail for the last month?
If you're on your deathbed and then some gringo walks in and it's like, hey, that big, huge ranch that you left for your kids, we're going to take that. And then everything that they have in their bank accounts that is connected to you in any way, we're going to take that too.
Okay, I'll admit that sucks. But his kids are 70, right? So even his kids did pretty well for a really long time.
Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I was picturing children. Oh my God, I'm a fucking retard. This guy's great grandkids are old enough to vote.
Yeah. If his kids are in their 70s, then their kids might be in their 40s and 50s. His grandkids had a pretty good run at all these seized Jewish things from the previous century.
He's so old that he's estranged from the youngest members of his family. Where when they hear about it, great Uncle Ted's a fucking Nazi, they'll be like, "Well, he did bounce me weird on his knee." I can see that, that.
Oh, that's what that swastika tattoo on his neck was from. God, I'm an idiot.
Should have put it together.
Thought he just really liked American History X. He was a big Edward Norton fan.
It was on repeat constantly. Only a couple scenes though. Really weird. Same scenes. Yeah.
So you're filming a TV show with who?
So we did, the first season was called Hunting Hitler, and it was on the History Channel. And we looked at if it was possible, had Hitler escaped out of the bunker in 1945, what would he have done? So my end, they brought in, when they hired me, they needed a guy that could use UAVs, that knew ground penetrating radar, that had hunted people, high value targets type people. And I did it in reverse. So I started where if I was him, where would I have gone? And then kind of followed the rat lines back to Argentina. And then to prove my theories, to see if it would have worked, we had to find other Nazis that had done that same thing, which is where the depressing part comes in.
Oh. Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the reaction like when you walk in and I'm sure some of them are like, all right, well, fuck, I'm getting my comeuppance. And our other ones just huh? They have no idea why you're there.
Dude, they've been lying for so long. They still, they still won't admit it. Like, hey, look, here's a picture of you. Here's your military ID card. Here's the address that you lived when you're in Berlin. Like, this is the boat that you came here on. Here's the day that you landed. Here's your signature that matches your signature in Germany.
I apologize. I don't even speak English or read English. I don't. I've lived it my whole life.
Second guess yourself though, because that's what I would be doing. Like if I caught this guy and we had all this information, he's like, none of this seems familiar. I would be like, huh? Are we sure this is the dude?
No. I mean, you have to understand the culture of Nazism and the secret, especially since 1945, the way that they behaved. Living in Brazil, Colombia, Argentina. And they've had to live this way through countless presidents, some of which supported them, like Perón, like Evita's husband, Evita, that girl. Her husband was very supportive of the Nazis, and he was actually part of the Nazi party. But then 2 presidents after him, they started a commission to track down Nazis. So then these guys all like shuffled and had to hide and hopping borders. So they've been doing this a really long time. And they got really good at it. There's areas in Argentina that still exclusively speak German. And me being a big, red bearded white guy, I walk into a coffee shop, and they're just sitting there talking in German to me. I was like, no, sprechen no Deutsch, dude. Like, let's speak Spanish. I speak Spanish. I'm in Argentina. Can we speak Spanish? Is that cool? Can I order coffee? Oh,
that's
weird.
Wow. Spanish. So how many Nazis
to answer your original question, what am I doing? I'm doing television. I'm still training for a fight. I still go to Africa to try to find poachers. I haven't been looking for pirates very recently. I'm trying to bait ISIS to try to come and kill me, but they're a bunch of pussies, so they're not going to do that.
I told everyone about your T-shirt. Like I was looking forward to you coming on the show, and I guess, am I going to mess this up? Did the CIA contact you and say that they had a credible threat?
That would have been cooler, but no, it was the FBI. Like
I mixed it
up.
Well,
as long as it wasn't Twitter. Like, oh, fuck you, go die. Like, you take it a little seriously.
I get my death threats on YouTube, and they're just fat rednecks. So
yeah, that I could aspire to that. Like, you have me there. I don't have a lot of fat rednecks.
No. If you saw the video, you wouldn't be impressed. He's just some dude driving, holding a cell phone.
I don't know. Any dude taking a video, especially if he's fat. I think it's kind of humorous and entertaining. It's like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, don't mind my man boobs and my paps over there. I like the blue ribbon. Hey, Henrietta, bring me something to drink. No, I'm gonna kill you though. I think that's hilarious.
I mean, in World War II, you had we basically cut all the Japanese supply lines off. We enticed them to attack us. We wanted them to attack us so we could get into the war there too. So we'd have justification.
But embargoing your enemy supply line is like step one in
our enemy at that point.
Well, they were the enemies of the entire in that part of the world.
At that point, we were in a situation where. Well, we were in a situation at that point where we were doing everything we could. The war was not popular with the American populace, but everyone with any. We weren't connected with the media like we are now. The American public didn't know what was going on, and you couldn't tell them. But our government knew how horrible things were going in Europe and how bad things were going in Asia. And of course they wanted the war to start, but I don't know if they let the attack on Pearl Harbor happen, because that was a major blow.
Yeah,
that wasn't
that's
like
a big conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that wasn't like
that's not conspiracy theory either. I mean, they had declassified reports leak out from World War II that showed Roosevelt basically making orders to basically embargo these people to the point they were ready to attack us.
But no. See, we were like halfway involved in the war already. We were giving tanks, we were giving bullets, we were giving. Hold on, we were supplying the Allies, and we were messing with like supply lines and embargoes and stuff like that. We did everything but commit troops. I don't think that's the same thing as inviting them to attack U.S. soil.
No, I agree. Now I have heard some reports about some of the earliest U.S. radar installations were in that area, and them ignoring the radar reports of Japanese planes coming in. But still, doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't you react to it and save a few of those ships?
Because
It doesn't matter how many people died. If they attacked,
people love vengeance, Kyle. How many times have you watched Death Wish? How many
But
times have you watched?
I just think it's bad strategy. It doesn't make it. Why
But
not
if
try
one-
to get the
if it's
ships
just
out of the
one-
harbor?
Right. If it just one innocent person dies from Pearl Harbor, that's all you need.
Yeah. All you need is like, oh, so apparently the Japanese attacked us today. They sent all these fighters. What are they? If the ships aren't there, then they're going to bomb the shipyards.
They
They're going to
sent
bomb
all these fighters. They damaged the harbor. They took out half or 1/3 of the ships they would have if they weren't just sitting ducks. And that's enough to start. We're good to go.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. The most impressive thing, and I love World War II as it's a horrible thing, but studying it as a piece of history, the most impressive thing about World War II is how what happened in the United States right after Pearl Harbor. If you look at the shape our economy was in, if you look at where our industry was at that time, if you look at our workforce, and then you see what happened in the next 3 years, it's insane.
Well,
we went
because there was no other. Like the auto industry was bombed to shit in Germany and Japan. All there was American cars.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. No, there were no American cars. We stopped making cars.
I understand that, but we still had our factories intact. So when we brought our boys back, they could go right back to work.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how many ships and tanks and jeeps we built.
Oh yeah,
and how fast we did it. I'm talking about that every man, woman, and child chipped in. And I wonder if that would happen again. I wonder if there were a similar tragedy. What if Los Angeles?
I really think it would.
As horrible as it is, God, that would be inspirational.
Yeah,
wouldn't
I remember,
Dude, so after 9/11, everybody was flying flags on their car. Everybody was dreaming of getting involved. People were lining up at the doors to join the Army, Marines, Navy, and Air Force. After 9/11, the United States was motivated to do something about that attack, and it was nothing compared to World War II. It was nothing compared to World War II. So I think if someone really did an attack like that, the United States would mobilize and have an enthusiasm around a common cause that we haven't seen in our lifetimes. It would just blow away what happened for 9/11. And
my favorite things to watch are the things that are the documentaries and History Channel programs about World War II, when they're like, over the next 6 months, the United States would produce, and they give some outrageous number of like tanks, jeeps, and shit.
Well,
They
can
rebuilt the
I just put
Navy.
this spout out before I get interrupted again?
Yes.
Ford made a B-29 Super Fortress every 59 minutes.
That's what I'm talking about. That shit right there.
They were putting them out faster than the German could put them down.
Exactly. Same thing with tanks. I like that idea. It took 3 of our tanks to kill 1 of their tanks, so we just made 5.
that's an interesting strategy because now it feels like we're on the other side.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, but I'm just like this. Like, how many Kia factories would get shut down if we went to war with Korea? They'd be making tanks. Americans would take them over and we'd make tanks out of them.
Yeah, see, the thing about modern technology is, though, we could destroy every Kia factory in Korea. And
Kia factories
it's 10:50 p.m. right now on the East Coast. By midnight, if we wanted to, there wouldn't be a Kia plant left in the world.
I want that power. I want that power.
That's a fact. It just is. There's submarines right in that ocean over there. They could shoot Tomahawk cruise missiles over there. They could shoot nukes over there if it was that serious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people always call the U.S. this monster and this bully militarily. We're just thumping you, buddy. We're just slapping you around a little bit. We haven't been serious about shit for like 60 years.
Oh my God.
We're being real nice about this thing. We really are. We're not this big bully.
We did like take a rack over in 2 weeks?
We're like the big kid at school that everybody maybe he's not a nice guy, but he doesn't beat you bloody every day. He just kind of slaps you around a little. Get away from me. I don't like dealing with you. What? I can't have your lunch money? And he just called you some dirty names.
Kyle, big fan of the military-industrial complex.
Big fan. Big fan.
Love it.
My favorite. You ever play a game called Civilization Revolution? I have. Favorite part? Military-industrial complex. I like getting those factories going. Using the Americans, pumping out a bunch of tanks. We're going over to Woody's Gamertag's place, surrounding him, putting the artillery out there, just slowly crushing his cities. It's a good time.
Oh, speaking of American GI World War II, I was watching the thing last night about the youngest serving World War II soldiers from the good old USA, of course. We don't care what those other people did. But we had I think he was 12. His name is Calvin. This 12-year-old named Calvin, abusive family, wants to get out of that, but he's a 1940s 12-year-old, so he's half a man already. Yeah, and so he goes to enlist, and the dentist is checking him out, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, 17, all right." And he's like, "Son, you got baby teeth. You have some of your baby teeth still." And he's like, "Yeah, they didn't fall out. That's just how we are in my family. We keep them longer." And I'll tell you the truth, some of those other guys you already passed, they're in my class. They're also underaged. I'll report you if you don't wave me through. At 12, he bullies the Navy doctor into drafting him. Next thing he knows, he's in fucking Hawaii at Pearl Harbor. Next thing he knows, he's in the Pacific, hauling ammo to 40 millimeter anti-aircraft guns, fighting the Japanese off of the Yorktown because it's being attacked.
Did you see a picture of him by chance? What did he look like?
Well, 5 minutes later, there's a huge explosion, and he gets shot right in the face, knocking a bunch of his baby teeth out. But what does 12-year-old Calvin do? He gets back up, and he starts patching people up. He finds his teeth, he puts them back in, and he starts applying tourniquets to all the men on the ship. So he was awarded, it wasn't the Medal of Honor. He was awarded like a Silver Star or something like that, and a Purple Heart. But then his Karen of a mom fucking reports him to Naval Intelligence. She calls and she says, "You've got my 12-year-old boy in the Pacific fighting the..." And so they throw him in the brig. Next thing you know, they take all his goddamn medals away, give him a dishonorable discharge, and he fights for the rest of his life to get his medical benefits back for the damage he took fighting the... That's him right there. It wasn't until 1994, 2 years after he died, when Clinton gave him his Purple Heart back. But I think Jimmy Carter gave him his Silver Star or whatever it was, Bronze Star, something like that. I don't know medals. Back in the 80s. And they also gave him his medical benefits around the 70s or 80s, something like that. But he had to fight every day of his life for the rest of his life to get his 12-year-old earned medical benefits. What a badass.
I did want. I wanted to say.
I don't like that they dishonorably discharged.
You imagine fighting the 12.
I'm sorry to step over you, Harley, but yeah, I don't know what it is that's so awful about a dishonorable discharge. But apparently that follows you for life in a really big way.
It's like a bankruptcy, I imagine, but it's also you're not getting any of those benefits from the military. That he needed the medical because he was injured.
I've seen it on employment applications and such. Like people look at that. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Well, I'm really old. Maybe they don't do it anymore.
Maybe they just. You're too retarded for the army. I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna cut it here.
No, like the army found you dishonorable. We don't want you here at Costco type shit.
Oh yeah, he fought in Korea. And then there was another kid. He was 6 when the Nazis came to his Polish village, hung his brother in front of him. His mother tried to intervene. They shot her with a machine gun. He fled into the forest for days. He was eventually discovered by local partisan troops who drafted him into their unit because they knew that at the orphanages, the children were starving. There wasn't enough food to feed the orphanages. So they said, hey, if we keep him in the unit, hell, he's another soldier. He gets rations. So they put a fucking uniform on him at 6 years old. And he was out in the field with a partisan unit fighting. And they were giving him, and he would like run the mail to the soldiers. He was like their mascot and stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of like a squire.
Yeah, it was like a squire, like a World War II squire. And
I thought they were going to use him as a spy. Clever. Because I feel like a 6-year-old can move in and out and no one will suspect that he's like part of the system.
The Nazis sucked. They were killing, they were sweeping through Poland like raping.
Whoa, hot take.
Finally, someone that's been 10 years on this podcast. Finally, someone's
that's crazy. I can't believe you would say that about Kanye's people.
Kanye's people they're just too loud for me. I can't deal with it. I don't know.
Kanye saw one picture of those guys in Google Boss and made his mind up.
I don't know why I never see that. The guys in basic training show. I watch those shows, and there's always like fat people at basic training. It's like, how the fuck did you not plan this out? How did you not plan this out, dude? There is no dude. Tell me I have basic training at almost 40. I promise you, I'll be ripped.
G. Gordon Liddy used to say that. He's like, you want to be an attorney? You go to law school. You want to be a doctor? You go to med school. You want to be in the infantry? Hit the gym. And it's like, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
You better hit the stair stepper with like a weighted pack or something and just grind.
Just think about like, if you're a drill sergeant and you see that, I'm thinking 2 or 3 steps backwards now. I'm like, okay, so this person knew he was coming here to work for me, to be a Marine. And he showed up like that. this person has no forethought. Like this, or he's a moron. Like immediately I'm thinking that of you, or you're a loser or a piece of shit. Like I would think so little of somebody who showed up the basic to do this job and like fat, like legitimately like can't hack it.
Or you see the guy who's fit and who seems to be at the top of the class. You think, this guy's taking it seriously. Maybe you think they'll hire that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That show I was watching about the World War II children. This one kid, he falsified some shit. He had an abusive stepdad, and they didn't believe him. He went and he's like, yeah, I lost my birth certificate. But I'm 17 though. He's like, kid, you can't be 14. I think he was 14.
Yeah. Why are you holding a balloon?
So he goes back out to the truck, and he tells his stepdad, he's like, they didn't believe I was 17. He's like, let's go back in there. And his stepdad winds up a whole lie to get rid of him. He's like, there was a fire and we lost the birth certificate, and his little brother died in the fire, and now you're not going to let him fight for his country. And they put him in fucking World War II. Again, another child that they sent to fight the fucking. His story was interesting too. What did he do? So they found him out when he got to Pearl Harbor. That's like the midway point before you get to the Pacific to fight. They found him out, and they're like, I'm going to make you a truck driver. How about that? You're going to drive a truck here on the base, but we're not sending you to fight the son. And so he wastes away for like a year and a half driving trucks at Pearl Harbor, wanting to fight the. And finally, he's like, fuck this shit. I'm getting on that boat. Because
he's 13 now. It's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's 16 now. He's 16 now. And he sneaks aboard the troop transfer. He says, where are we going? I don't know, something called Iwo Jima or something. Oh, okay. So he fucking lands on Iwo Jima the 3 days after he turns 17. And he wins the Medal of Honor, diving on grenades and saving his men and killing 4 Japanese.
He's dead now.
Well, now he is. So his eye was blown out of his head. He had like 200 shrapnel wounds. He pushed the first grenade into the sand, and he curled the second grenade under him and told everybody to run. The one in the sand went off and just decimated him. They eventually put him back together, though. He looked okay.
I wonder if you put a helmet on it, what would happen?
Those
cartoons tell me you'd be launched upward, but I don't.
Kevlar, the move is to put if you've got a Kevlar helmet, like 100%, I would be putting that on it. But those World War II helmets, you're probably just making more shrapnel.
A lot of these drone footage has shown me how far less effective grenades are than I once thought.
Big time. Yeah,
we've talked about that. Grenades are not that cool. Well, they're cool, but they're not that deadly.
They're not effective
all the time.
They don't shoot an even frag pattern out around them. Not all of them shoot frag. Some of them are concussion. It's just a pop and pressure and overpressure and sound and light. And like sometimes, if it's laying on the ground, so it's not going to shoot this perfect sphere of death out. And even when it does, like, you gotta be right next to that thing or get unlucky. I don't think a lot of people die from grenades. They get wounded and get peppered.
When the drones dropped them, I was about to say, but they were mortars, weren't they? A lot of them. What drones were dropping in Ukraine?
Yeah, they were dropping all sorts of stuff. I remember early on they had some VOG grenades. I knew VOGs from Tarkov, but they were definitely. They have a drone that drops mines. They take like a car mine, a vehicle mine, and it's sitting there like a big pancake on the front of the drone, and the drone just sort of flicks it off. And any explosives they have, right? They're loading onto those drones. The new thing is the ones with the carbon fiber tethers. Those things are like 30,000 feet of cord or something like that. It's like 10 kilometers or something of fiber optic cable being fed out from behind their drones now to avoid any electronic interference and signal jamming and all the ways that drones are being countered right now. It's the trial of Adolf Eichmann, and they have the real footage from the trial. There's Adolf Eichmann sitting in his glass box, and it was.
Is he a Nazi?
Is he a Nazi? Yeah,
he was the main Nazi. He was the architect.
Does he sound like a Nazi?
I'm almost positive that he wasn't the main one.
Yeah, the main one I think of is a different Adolf.
Yeah,
Goebbels.
Yeah. No,
not Adolf.
No.
Keep
the
going.
main one.
Keep
Hitler.
going.
He's got a
no. Okay, I know about Hitler. I'm saying that Adolf Eichmann was
knew about him.
For the listener, Hitler was the leader of Nazi Germany, starting in the early and then
who was Hitler again? No, so Hitler did a lot of things. I'm not trying to. By the way, I'm not trying to take any like onus off of Hitler here, but Adolf Eichmann was the guy who's like, it said it on his plaque.
I was not trying to take
you know
anything
what I
away
mean?
from him.
Like on his door. No. Oh,
far be it from him.
Big ups to Hitler, but Adolf Eichmann.
Christ.
No, so they got him in that fucking. It's what they did. This happened in 1960, many years after the war. Obviously, they caught his ass. The Mossad did, kidnapped him out of South America, injected him with something, threw him in a uniform, drug him through the airport, and was like, we've got a sick man here, faking Spanish accents. Got him on the plane. He wakes up in Tel Aviv. Guess what? That thing you signed while we were slapping you around for 3 days in that building, that says you're going on trial in Israel, and you agreed to it. They throw him in the glass box and they put him on trial, and the documents are piled sky high. They bring a witness from every country that he killed Jews in, an eyeball witness. They've got the documents there of everyone who came into Auschwitz for like a couple years, and the numbers match the numbers that everybody's fucking tatted up with, so they know it's a real document. And they've got quotes from him. The prosecutor has a fucking number on his arm, by the way. That was interesting. And he's going through the.
That doesn't look good for that guy. Then it
doesn't look good for anybody.
Are you saying it's personal?
It was so personal.
Very personal. Yeah,
dude. I was fascinated by this thing because he defended himself 80% of the way through the trial, saying like, no, that's not true. I was following orders in Hungary. I was following orders in Poland. I didn't say this. I didn't say that. And they're like, here's some quotes from you. And they read this. It's just very incriminating quote from him. And Eichmann's like, maybe I'd been drinking, or maybe I didn't say that. I don't remember saying that. And it's like, dude, you're done. It doesn't really come across as well as I'm doing it because there's German being translated to Hebrew and there's a delay.
That's a very funny thing to like focus on in like a Holocaust trial, though, is like, we're going to mention now something pretty mean you said. It's like, no. I think you're burying the lead here, Mr. Attorney. I think you should lead off stronger.
There's hurt feelings in so many countries.
Incriminating himself, and it's him talking about.
Zach just posted one of the quotes. It's fucked up.
It's him letting you know that he's a real Nazi, and someone who's a real Nazi does their job with like joy in their heart. Jesus the way Christ. He kills the Jew. He's really laying it on thick about being a Nazi.
This quote is outrageous. I'm scared to read it for fear that it'll be like
I will leap into my grave laughing because the feeling that I have 5 million human beings on my conscience is for me a source of extraordinary satisfaction. Yeah, that's a good quote. Doesn't play well in court. I don't think the
jury's gonna like that.
Can you like if you saw that in a movie, you'd be like, come on, I need a realistic bad guy. I need someone with a little nuance in the mix. It's like if Tony Soprano was like, and another thing, all the Jews got to go. It's like all right, Tony. How about you handle New York first?
Tony always liked the Jews.
He did.
The documentary is very cool. I didn't watch the last 10 minutes of it. I'm sure they're gonna fucking kill him or something like that. I had to come do this.
Yeah, it doesn't go well. Eichmann.
I think it ends poorly for Eichmann.
Hanged or shot.
I think he escapes at the end. I think it turns out Hitler was alive the whole time. Sneaks
Goes
him
to
out.
Argentina.
Dark Side of the Moon. Iron Sky, baby.
Of course.
No, idiots. It's Antarctica.
Yeah.
That's where Hitler went.
Have you seen
Argentina
of Joe Rogan not getting jokes? Like they're going over his head. Dude, I like Joe's show. And Joe knows more about comedy than me, and he's funnier than me, all those things. But God, he doesn't get a joke. He's having this discussion with this lady, and they're talking about the Nazis or something, and she does this really good wordplay about how you could defend anything that they've done. And Joe's like, what about the Nazis? Did they have a right? And she's like, they did. The Third Reich. And he doesn't get the little wordplay joke that he's making. He goes, I don't think it's right. I think it's Reich. Jamie, what is a Reich? What is a Reich? And he doesn't know what a Reich means. Empire. He doesn't know what a Reich is, and she's sitting there like really awkward. So the First Reich would have been, I guess, the Roman Catholic Empire or whatever, and the Second Reich would have been
the Ottoman Empire. Yeah,
and then Hitler creating the Third Reich in the 40s, and then you often hear the Fourth Reich from neo-Nazis and such, and so yeah, that's the.
There's there's
only so much.
Well, we're
weed you
hoping
should smoke
to
during the
staunch
show.
that down and keep.
Does Reich necessarily mean bad?
No,
Because
No,
it just
couldn't
means
America be a Reich?
It's like that Charlie Chaplin mustache. Not necessarily bad. Bad today. It's,
Yeah,
the meaning has,
unless
the
it's
meaning has,
Michael Jack or Michael Jordan.
the meaning has changed
Yeah,
over time, but Hitler
been co-opted.
meant it as empire, and we mean it as empire, and you got to go back to a little bit before. I don't know if the
Dude, that's a
Prussians
terrible
had an
track
emperor.
record of Reichs. Like the first Reich, you said it was the Roman Empire.
Roman Catholic. I would have been like the Roman
wildly
Catholic Empire.
successful.
The
Wildly
no,
successful,
the,
and then the Ottoman Empire.
the church.
Not as successful, but wildly
think that's what's
successful. Huge drop off on that.
I was
third
waiting
one.
for Taylor's
How
third
many-
Reich.
I was
Did you
about
see
to
it?
stick in
He's
the middle
like, we got the first one. We got the
This is
second one.
Yeah. But that's pretty
Well,
embarrassing.
well, they're not like
he was
aspiring to
leading into
empires.
that where
They're-
he's
Those
no,
are the
he was
Germanic
definitely
empires.
aspiring
Yeah,
to, like,
yeah.
Those
be
were the
that level.
Germanic empires in particular. Like that's what he's aspiring to be, the third Germanic empire. Not just the third in succession, because there's many families that ruled and it changed hands many times over those hundreds of years. But he's talking about a new thing.
Right.
Didn't work out, luckily.
Didn't they? Good for everybody else. Didn't work out so much.
Yeah, not
for
luckily,
everybody
thanks to the
else.
sacrifice of like millions and millions of
100
men.
million European men.
Oh, is
Something
that
ridiculous.
correct? The Weimar Republic was the Second Reich, not the Ottoman Empire. That was the ruling party that Hitler overthrew.
Yes. Yeah, that was in the that was post
It would
World
have
War
been-
One.
20s and 30s. Yeah,
post
the weakened,
I think
the weakened
1918
Germany.
revolution. I
I
think.
think it ended in the
Right.
20s or maybe even 1920 flat, but it goes back to the 1800s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had to go live in any
that's
empire,
a really good documentary, though. I highly recommend it. It's fun to see
Any
it form.
empire?
Yeah, there you go.
any empire before the year 1000.
Ooh.
So it's got to be a good while ago. You can't just pick like
Okay.
something super recent.
Question: Do I get to be Genghis Khan?
No,
If
but
so,
you get how about this?
Mongolia.
You're not Genghis Khan. You're not even a super high ranking general, but you're like a lieutenant he respects. You're in a good place.
Okay. All right. Ooh. I mean, peak Rome was probably kind of awesome, actually.
That's what I was
mean,
going for. Yeah.
Peak Rome was pretty fucking sweet, I think,
Yeah.
for a lot of folks. Or maybe peak Athens. Peak Athens was probably all right too.
I'm going
That would be
Rome,
cool.
100%.
Yeah, Rome has got to
100%.
be it. Like
They've got
nobody else.
toilets.
Yeah.
They've got toilets, dude. Like
running water.
You can't say that about everyone. They had hot running water if you're rich. But I think
Good
you could just be
wine,
a soldier.
olive
I think you
oil.
could sign up for the army
Good food.
and eat and have a job. It seems
Yeah.
like Rome was a much better place than say 500 years ago.
Yeah.
Fucking United
You
Kingdom.
want to be like
area.
Rome in the year like 3,
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
433. Like
I based this entirely on the TV show Spartacus, but I think I'd like to own gladiators.
Mm.
I bet that would be a stressful job.
Yeah,
Based on
I'd
what
be a little
Badiatus
nicer
had
to
to
'em.
do. Like,
You got to specify, what white ones. But like,
they would be from every corner of the kingdom.
There was a
Woody would
lot
be
of sex in that show, and everyone was a fucking fitness influencer. So,
But would you want to have sex with gladiators, like people who are trained to kill?
you're judging me now, and that's
You could
not
find
cool.
sexy whores to have sex with who like don't know how to kill you
All
and don't
the,
spend all day training to do so.
I
not
was
doing
really
it to
talking
fuck
about the
them. He's doing it
female
'cause he's
staff.
he likes
There were like
sports.
orgies, and all those girls were tens.
That one.
You know
chick
what
has
I would
those
do?
Crazy torpedo tits.
If I were if I were the what was Badiatus called in Spartacus? What is the name of the guy who owns all the gladiators, the gladiatorium or some shit? I would want to
The
be
guy
like
who's like Proximo in Gladiator, like the promoter.
yes,
Yeah,
like that guy.
yeah.
I would want to like be known for something. Like, you know, those guys with the big nets and the tridents. Like, I wouldn't just
Yeah.
be a gladiator trainer. It'd be like, we got to go to Tayloratus's, whatever, in order to
Gladiator
get the
school.
finest net throwers in all of Rome. Like, he's known for that. Like, that would be fun. Actually, it probably wouldn't also be fun because you'd have a bunch of dangerous
It should be
men.
all smoke and mirrors. Like you should be the spear master, and then you're like, just poke him.
Man, he's the best gladiator trainer. His trick is he gives them the longest spears in the kingdom.
He's got a
Yeah,
real
you
funky
want to be like
attitude.
a sword maker or some shit, you know, like someone who was like so good at his craft that you could charge like a boatload of money for it, you know, but like you're kind of cool, like whether you're a soldier or a gladiator or whatever, like you gotta have a Maticus fucking blade, dude. You gotta have a Feroticus blade.
I like you'd be jacked.
Maticus
Your arms would be
Feroticus
huge.
is great. I'm on
Damascus
board.
steel.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Living in Rome. But like so quickly you'd be like, oh, this is worse running water. Like this is like
Oh, for sure.
They have bathrooms and like everybody else is like, isn't this great? We all get to sit in this room and like sit shit next to each other with no dividers. Like this is so much better
Hand me
than
the
everywhere
sponge,
else on
Taylor.
the planet.
Yeah.
And
They
then
didn't
you'd be
tell
like,
me the
how
running
do I
water
wipe?
here was downstream of the latrines.
Yeah,
At least the Chinese
you
don't
have to
own it.
wipe your ass with like a sponge on a stick. That's like
Not me.
I mean, I'm great. Come on. I mean, maybe you don't, but I deserve
everybody
every
loves
dog I get.
dogs. Everybody who's
No,
normal
yeah.
loves dogs. Well, and some people who aren't normal.
Hitler had dogs.
Hitler loved dogs. That's what I was
know?
thinking. He was all about German shepherds. I don't know if I don't know if it was a German shepherd thing or a dog thing because I don't think I've ever seen him admiring.
I've seen
other
video of
types
him playing with it. I've seen video of him playing with his dog. I thought you
Blondie?
meant other dogs. Blondie, yeah. That's
I remember that.
remarkable that you know that.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen the History Channel.
And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And you combine those together and you've got it pretty well wrapped up. The Eagle's Nest, the Third Reich, Hitler. The
See, I was
Blondie.
trying to say I learned it from a documentary, but you're more right about It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
I learned that.
I don't know how I feel about him poisoning the dog in the end. They say it was to test the potency of his cyanide capsules that he gave the dog the cyanide. But
What?
I always, and I guess it is because I could imagine putting the dog down because the Russians are coming. Like I'm not going to let the Russians get Blondie, but who knows what they'll do? Their dirty fucking Slavic hands. I mean, we raped our way across Eastern Europe all the way to fucking Stalingrad. They're gonna want some
You're gonna kill
payback
that
on
dog,
Blondie.
yeah.
Yeah,
They're gonna
So,
rape the
you know,
dog. You think?
they may rape it.
Hope
They
not.
may indeed rape Blondie, and I wouldn't want that. So I
Probably
put the
leave the
dog
dog
down.
alone and steal the washing machine, just based on what I'm looking at.
And I think that he did test the cyanide capsule on the dog, though. He ended up taking the cyanide and then shooting himself, which is an interesting. Let's make double.
Why would you
kinda,
do two? Like, and how do you not trust cyanide? Isn't like my understanding of a cyanide pill wasn't like, and that's the exact amount to end your life. I thought it was like, this is a chunk of poison. It will kill you. Like you're going to die. It could kill 8 people if we all split this. Maybe I'm
No,
wrong.
sometimes people survive it, and sometimes they're scarred by it. I guess. Remember that was the whole deal with that James Bond villain, is he had bitten his. Obviously, it's James Bond, but he had bitten the capsule, and it had fucked his whole face up because he survived it, and then
Was that
still
the
ended up
guy
being
who's like,
captured and tortured?
Don't put it in your pocket.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay.
Different movie, but yeah, that's Javier Bardem.
No, it's the same movie. It's the same
You-
film. It's not the same.
Just imagine it's the
Mr.
same
Bond, don't
character.
put that in your pocket, or it will become just a magical orb. I've never seen that movie. I don't know what it's about.
That's how he looks at it. He's like, "Ooh." And then
Is that what he
he
does?
ah, yeah, you nailed it. That's perfect. Yeah. That's good.
So I wanted to rebut someone. Shiz linked me to some guy on the subreddit.
I didn't even
That
see
I didn't-
this. I'm really proud that's like shit on the subreddit happens now and I don't catch it. But carry
Right?
on.
I didn't catch it either. Chiz linked me to this. He asked
Mhm.
me what I thought about it. He's like, what do you think of this? So, I guess it was last week or the week before we were discussing what would happen if you dropped an Abrams tank, a modern day Abrams tank, into World War II. What could it do to the Third Reich? And first of all, the scenario that I envision, and the one I think that we settled on, was that you had unlimited ammo because these things only carry 42 rounds. And that's not going to really get anything done. 42 targets is nothing in the grand scale of things, especially World War II. I think you get to pick the time of the war you get dropped into as well, and potentially where.
No. There was definitely behind enemy lines. Was part of the question.
Okay. What's the kind of tank we're using? I need to look this up
M1
so I know
Abrams.
what we're talking about.
Yeah, the Abrams tank, ABRAM. So I found a little bit of information and I wanted to like read through this. What I've got here, got a prepared statement, if you will. So this refutes a few of the things that this guy had to say. So the anti-tank specialist weapon of the day for the Germans was the 88 millimeter. The PAK-43 was the anti-tank specialized version of the 88. It looks like Wikipedia lists that the PAK-43's armor penetration at 100 meters, which is effectively point-blank range, is 202 millimeters. The M1 Abrams frontal armor equivalents, rough, which means a very rough estimate, against kinetic penetration is about 940 to 960 millimeters. But that's the older version. The new ones have depleted uranium armor upgrades. Basically, the added...
That sounds so cool.
Yeah. Basically, the added protection from the depleted uranium armor is believed to be equivalent to 24 inches, that's 610 millimeters, of RHA, that's rolled homogeneous armor plate. So you're looking at a penetrator capable of what? Cracking 202 millimeters, striking 1,560 millimeters of equivalent armor. So if you hit the same spot with the biggest fucking gun you've got about 3 or 4 times in a row, you got it. But the problem is the M1 Abrams tank has thermal night vision. It can see through those hedgerows that are all in France and Germany, and it can see your guns through them. It can look through walls and find the bad guys. It shoots from a farther effective range than anything you have while driving 40 miles a fucking hour. Your tanks have to stop to even shoot accurately. This tank will never miss a target regardless of the range or of its movement or of the target's movement. That means that the Abrams can be hauling ass over hills beyond your effective range, and you can be hauling ass in the other fucking way or strafing, whatever you want to do, and it'll still hit you 99% of the time just because of the targeting systems. Some people brought up the tank maintenance, and that is an issue. That they do have a breakdown issue, so that could happen, that the tank could actually break down. But let's imagine that you get some Americans to support your tank with some infantry and some Shermans and maybe some aircraft. Then you're pretty much unstoppable because you got engineers and you got fuel behind you. And the tank can run the fuel of the day because those turbine engines will run anything. Kerosene, diesel, lighter fluid, whatever you pour in them. I think I got something else here. Oh, as far as the... It goes on to say the M1's durability is almost irrelevant anyway because it's not likely to get hit much in the first place. The thermal sensors, fire controls, crew conditioning, and training of modern crews mean that detecting enemies and landing the first round will happen faster and from a longer range than the enemy has any practical hope of retaliating at. A World War II tank can have difficulty just hitting a moving target at all at moderate range, but a well-trained Abrams crew is accuracy is near 100%. Yeah, I already went through that. Anything that gets hit is doomed. The M1's kinetic penetrator will encounter so little resistance from enemy armor that it may not be able to get reliably deadly after armor effects. It will simply punch clean through and out the other side of a German tank. That means you can get collaterals.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
With tanks.
So the issue then becomes if they can hit it with artillery, or they can booby trap it, or they can use an aircraft bomb rigged with some sort of a mine, something like that. That would disable the tracks for sure. But the scenario doesn't involve you saying, "Hey, Germans, we have a super tank. Get ready." No, you don't do that. You fucking attack at 45 miles per hour.
Why would you have a German accent in this scenario?
So that they could understand you, wouldn't it?
Okay, my bad. All right, good point.
My point is, are you going to roll into Berlin and take out Hitler? No, you can't do that because they've got those Panzerschreck things, those little bazooka things, and well, it really depends on the year. There's just too many of them to. Your barrel would probably eventually lose its rifling, I would imagine. You just kill so many of them. The trick wouldn't be. I think some people imagine the M1 like barreling in. Like to a mass of enemies where it becomes surrounded and enveloped by smaller tanks and artillery pounding it and like men charging it. But you would never put it in that scenario. It would be behind like a group of infantry and other tanks supported by aircraft, and it would be firing these laser beams, destroying everything that it could see from beyond their range. Nothing would get near it ever. You wouldn't.
How fast can it shoot? Do you know?
how many? I don't know. It's like a round a minute, probably, maybe 2 or 3. I should probably check that. I honestly don't know. Huh. Find out.
That just seems too slow to do enough damage from just one thing, though. Like, eventually it would just be overwhelmed. And I think it would be overwhelmed pretty quickly.
They have to, let's see, rate of fire.
See, yeah, and you use the front as your, like, you know, how hard you'd have to be shot. But what if they hit you in the tread? They could probably break a tread.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd have to hit you in the treads.
Like, there's too many ways for it to go wrong.
Like I'm saying, you would have the thing supported. You wouldn't go in on your own. You get the World War II era guys to come with you. I don't think if you went in there on your own, eventually someone would shoot your treads, right? They disable you, and then they drop aircraft bombs on you. But it's a hard shot. It really is, and you're mostly staying beyond their effective range. And if you're supported by troops, then that's not going to happen. I think if you're supported by troops, it can do it.
The scenario was, you know, you 50 cal unlimited bullets against Roman. What were they called? I have Colosseums in my head.
Like a couple of Roman legions.
Legions, yeah. That was one scenario. And the other scenario was a tank World War II behind enemy lines. And Kyle felt like the World War II one was much, much better.
Yeah.
In both scenarios, you're so outnumbered that they'd eventually get you unless you had a team on your side.
They can't catch you. You could run the other way and fire out your ass the whole time. Like, they literally aren't as fast as you are.
You could.
It really is a head
they
and
are
shoulders
as fast
above.
as you. They're just not in tanks, right? They would need planes, bombers, you know, things like that.
It's true.
Or even just regular Humvees or whatever the equivalent of that was.
Yeah.
Like, this thing only goes 45.
The point is you need a team.
So it's not like some...
In either scenario, like you could do massive amounts of damage with a sniper rifle. These guys don't have guns. They brought swords to a gunfight.
I disagree with that one entirely. I think you could do very little damage.
No way.
I don't think. What's the starting distance? What like
no?
Visual
Too many
range.
people. There's
Give me
no
the scenario.
way. It would be dead way before you think.
I see them coming over the horizon. I'm on the mountaintop sniping until they get to me.
How far away are they?
I picture the movie 300, right? Like they're at the bottom of the pass. I'm at the top, you know, and they have like a lot of mountain climbing to do to get to me. And I'm just popping them off. And by the way, there's a psychological effect here. You know, they're watching a significant amount of their friends die.
I don't think it'd be significant at all. What's the range? That's the thing. Like, how far away are they? Are they 1,000 yards?
600 yards of cliff.
Straight up?
Almost.
So you're shooting straight down?
Roughly. I've
Why
got a
aren't they
good
shooting
military
arrows at you?
advantage. Why aren't they shooting arrows at me?
Yeah.
I suppose, you know what? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe a sea of arrows comes raining down, and now I'm ineffective.
Ballistas. I mean, it's the Roman Legion. They're not dumb. They were they took over most of the world. My thing is this. They, from what I know about the Roman Legion, depending on the era, they didn't care too much about their manpower. If they needed 5 or 10,000 people to die to conquer an area, it just happened. So they wouldn't retreat, I don't think. I think they would just be like charge full ahead, and it would end up becoming how long does it take a man to get from where they are to where Woody is? And that's how much time you have to live. And then if that's an hour, how many rounds per minute can you fire, and then do the math? That's how many you'll get before they hack you up.
If it's an hour, I
don't think Romans did that. I think they really, like, their soldiers were well paid, well trained. I think the people that they just forced out the front were those like Germanic tribesmen that they kind of captured and conscripted.
Yeah,
so
but you gotta capture them first.
Well, yeah.
Somebody's got to
But
be
still.
capturing those Germanic tribesmen.
Somebody's got to.
So, did anybody else see the trailer for Dunkirk, the
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan World War II movie that's coming out soonish?
I did. I think that's.
I was left disappointed and underwhelmed, and had a very strong meh. You picked the wrong World War II story to make a movie about kind of feeling afterwards. So I don't want to offend any Brits or Frenchmen right now, but I think the correct history of the event was that France is capitulating. Hitler's troops are coming in. There's really no more centralized French command. It's just a few French generals taking what troops are under their command and trying to hold off the Germans. Meanwhile, 500,000 British are trying to get back home because they see that their invasion isn't going to work and they got to regroup because the Blitzkrieg is fucking coming their way. There's 500,000 men on this beach and they just get picked off for days like fish in a barrel from aircraft and stuff. It's a real downer of a movie about the Allies losing early in the war and losing badly. I don't want to see that. And maybe that's very nationalist of me, and I should be okay with that. But
it's like if the
let's
Russians
watch the Marines on Wake Island holding out into the last man. Let's watch that one. That'd be much more fun and inspirational and a better movie. I love Nolan. I love World War II movies, but these people who are like, this is our generation Saving Private Ryan. You're a dumbass.
Well, yeah, Saving Private Ryan is one of my all-time favorite movies, certainly war movies, and I have high hopes for Dunkirk because I do, like you, I believe in Christopher Nolan. I think he's as a great filmmaker. Part of me thinks it was just a bad trailer. Like, part of me thinks that it was just it was just not a very good trailer, and I'm waiting for the second one. Yeah, but usually his trailers are knockout. Usually
Interstellar trailer blew me away. I was like, fuck, I don't care where I've got to go. I'm going to watch that shit in 70 millimeter. And I did. And this time around, again, he's shooting in 35 millimeter and 70 millimeter. So I will, of course, watch this thing on a 70 millimeter projector. But man, I got low hopes going into it. I feel like it's going to be a real downer. Like one of the scenes is an American like taking off his gear and walking into the waves to kill himself because they're in such a terrible situation. It's like, Jesus Christ, you couldn't at least
doing?
Yeah,
that was a British soldier, wasn't it?
Either way.
Allied.
Sure, it would have been a British soldier. Yeah.
I thought he was just de-stressing. Like,
killing
what?
himself.
I know everything's crazy, but I'm going for a little swim right now. Get my head right. That's what I thought was happening.
Kyle, let Woody have his innocent delusions. We'll let him believe that.
I'm like,
he's not hurting anybody.
It is a good time for a swim. I'd have done the same.
Woody's like, I forgot his board. That's a good surf right there. Maybe the others are gonna. Maybe it's gonna be like a beach party, and they're all gonna have a good time.
Woody's gonna lose the team.
Screaming from the beach. You've got your boots on.
Yeah, I didn't know why he had his clothes on. I was like, well, all right. I guess it's kind of badass to go swimming in your fatigues. Yeah.
Commander, Private Stevens has been underwater for a long time, and he has to be like, Private Stevens isn't coming back. Christ.
That guy's walking to his death because of the hopeless situation that they're facing.
He's going to leave the theater. He's going to have seen a completely different movie than us. He's going to leave the theater going, that would be the first story. Yeah, they all went swimming. It was nice day on a beach, and we're like, wow, okay, Woody.
It's Woody Vision. You like it in here. It's nice.
Some guy on Reddit said that he and his girlfriend watched Nightcrawler, and to this day, she still thinks it was an X-Men movie. Because Nightcrawler is an X-Men character. He's like, you didn't notice that he was a psychopathic, journalist, just creating his own crime. You thought he was an X-Men?
He never teleported in.
Yeah.
He actually bought a car because he was having being able to teleport would have made that movie really boring because he would have gotten to every scene immediately and been like, I got the clip and I'm out.
The whole movie was about a guy who solved the transportation problem better than his peers.
Actually, I'm just going to teleport into the bank and steal the money that I need.
I don't need his camera at all. I respected his hustle though, and I bet Woody did too. Like early on when he's so fucking broke that it hurts, and he's got this hustle and confidence about him that's like, yeah, I'm in a hole. That's why I'm digging myself out. That's what I'm doing. And he was so forward thinking, despite the fact that he's a sociopath and he's willing to kill and do anything. Really, everyone else, their lives have zero value to this guy. It's all about him. I really had a lot of admiration though for his he was really in a hole there at the beginning. He didn't have anywhere to live. He's just completely broke. But he still was it was like a fake it till you make it kind of mentality with this psychopath.
Gotta admire the hustle, undoubtedly.
I really liked that movie. To say a final thing on Dunkirk, I think the reason that people, it's hard to make a World War II movie because everybody immediately thinks to, I'm maybe not hard by semantics. I don't know. I was thinking that it's hard because it's compared. You immediately compare it to things like Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan, and it is really, really hard to hold up to Saving Private Ryan or Band of Brothers.
You got some shoes to live up to, so you got to try a little harder.
Generation Kill.
I've seen that. I saw that.
pretty
That
good.
is very good.
Not as good as Band of Brothers, but it was still.
I feel like it's a different problem. Like it's a different war, right? You've got a war where people, are worried about career advancement. You've got a war where people are worried about looking good, staying out of trouble, things like that. And they covered it amazingly. I talked to people who've been into war, modern war, and they're like, that was the most accurate representation I've seen of modern war ever.
I would like to see a story about, I don't know, maybe Midway, but more important, more cooler would be like an Audie Murphy story, like one of the Medal of Honor recipients from the war. Somebody who did something crazy, who killed a bunch of Germans or something, took out a machine gun nest.
A naval battle, right?
Yeah. That's when we sent everything we fucking had and snuck it in and just crushed the Japanese. But I watched a really interesting video about the economic. Oh, I linked to you guys. I doubt any of you looked at it because it was really boring and like minutia. But it broke down the economics of World War II and just how crazy our economy was at the time. He outlines it based on all kinds of like statistics, whether it's automobile production or the modernization of American factories, the way that our managerial system at the time was first class in the world. We had the best managers, the best workers, the best machinery, everything. But there was so much slack in our workforce. It was really ready to go. We had a lot more infrastructure than we had need for, and
we had more hammers.
Much more hammers. It was that, and that's
So
what they
many
broke down. They, it's hard to like figure out how many hammers a country has.
This is a civilization reference if people aren't getting it.
Yeah. But this actually broke down like look how many hammers the United States had. And they broke it down. And by the end of the war, he points out, he's like, at the end of the war, when the Soviets, the Brits, the Japanese are all either plateauing in their production capabilities for making war or declining due to infrastructure losses or a lack of material supply, coal, rubber, all that stuff, we're just getting warmed up. Now we're in go mode at the end of the war. And that's why I always say, when I look at that, when I think about the end of World War II and the last days of it, we should have kept on going. We should have kept on going. The whole fucking globe was crippled, except for us. We were in the fucking catbird seat, baby. We had nukes. Nobody else had one. We had the biggest fleet of boats that's ever been assembled. Nobody else had any boats left because we sunk them all. We had all these nations under our foot signing these agreements that were much greater in our benefit. We should have went ahead and knocked Stalin the fuck off and given his shit to Germany if we wanted to. Like, just, we don't have to keep it. Like, I'm not talking about creating an empire. Just crush the Russians, get rid of the Soviets, and give their shit to break the Soviet Union apart and make them all independent nations, which is what happened in the 80s anyway.
You think they had a talk about that?
They did
like,
have
right
a talk about
the
that.
end
Absolutely.
when they're like, hey,
the
do you
generals
think
wanted
we
that.
could just conquer the world on the way?
No,
Because
they
we defeated every major army on the way here.
I can't think of the general who maybe was one of the major American generals was like we're here. All MacArthur is who I had in my head, but I wasn't sure. We've got all of our shit here, boss. Look, all of our might and firepower, our big punch is cocked and ready, and we're looking down at everyone else on the fucking globe. Let's just get rid of the Soviets. We totally could have done it. Absolutely. And I mean, if we wanted to, we could have conquered South America while we were at it. It's amazing to look at the military making power and the situation the United States of America was in right then in like 1945, 1946. It's outstandingly. It's amazing. It's really cool stuff. I like reading up on that. But just between the U.S. and Japan, it wasn't even close. They were never a threat. And what I was getting at with that whole discussion there was that if we had lost Midway, this guy broke down why it didn't fucking matter, because we would replace all of our losses and have a bigger fleet than the Japanese within a year and a half or something like that. And the worst, and he didn't even think we'd lose Hawaii in that scenario. So, I don't know. World War II
looks like it
is
the
interesting.
British wanted to keep going too.
Yeah.
There's something called Operation Unthinkable that Churchill asked to have outlined. I'm just reading about it. It's new to me. And they eventually decided it was fanciful and just would have abandoned it. But apparently Churchill was talking about going into Russia and just taking over the world, I guess.
It's a very 1940s way to dismiss world conquest. Oh, that's a bit fanciful, don't you think?
Right?
No, I mean,
I think we're on a little island the size of Louisiana.
They were so crippled and war weary at the time. They had lost.
We were war weary too.
The populace was, but it was a mental thing more than an actual thing. Like they had lost millions and millions of men. We didn't. We'd lost hundreds of thousands. They had lost tens, like over 10 million or something like that, defending all of those cities, falling back and not holding their ground, holding their ground to the last man. All that crazy shit that happened in Stalingrad.
The Russians lost 20.
To keep going.
Russians lost 20 million men, I think, in World War II. Like it was such a bad problem in Russia that for years, decades afterward, there were just huge numbers of single women because there literally weren't enough men in the generation because so many died.
We could have immediately made a deal with the Germans and been like, you know what? Those Russians have been awfully cruel to you, raping and murdering as they took back your land and exacting their revenge upon you. Let's outline a peace agreement. Take everything you got, add it to what we got, and let's head north. Let's just go back in there and see if we can fix it this time.
That's just the worst tactical move I can imagine. Is going right after the war, going, "Hey, American public, you know those people we just fought? Yeah, fuck the Nazis. No, they're cool. Trust me, no, they're good. We're actually fighting the Russians now.
We're fighting fascism, though, right? We're fighting fascism, and once we once we put fascism down, then communism was the problem, and we should have went ahead and put communism down. If we'd done that, the world would be in a whole different place. We could have taken it. If you look at the numbers, the amount of troops, material, and the technological advancements, because we kept improving our planes, like. You always hear about the Japanese Zero fighter plane, right? Because they didn't make any new fighter planes during the war.
They never got to the one.
They never got to the one. We got to 3 or 4. We kept innovating.
Part of the reason why the kamikaze, like they turned their planes into weapons, like physical weapons, was because they didn't do anything else. Like they didn't do bombing very well, right? Like they didn't do that part of it very well. So. I mean, I like to think about history and just think about what could have been. Like a lot of historians agree that like had Hitler just not attacked Russia, had he just focused on one front and he could have taken over all of Europe and parts of Africa and all sorts of other places, right?
I've heard that said, but that ignores the American like hammer advantage, to go back to Civ talk. Like,
I think you still have to not also get us instigated, right? Because we were pretty fat, dumb, and happy until Pearl Harbor happened.
That was probably a really awkward phone call between Hirohito and Hitler. Why did you bring the Americans into it? We are already struggling so much just in France.
Yeah. I could see like Japan writing over Skype to Hitler. Uh-oh.
had Hitler just focused on Scandinavia, Europe, parts of Africa, I think he would have done a lot better. Tactically speaking.
How the bomb button and the simulation button look the same?
I think the eventuality of that circumstance of Hitler never messing with the Soviets is that at the end of the war, he gets to keep a lot of what he took. He gives a lot of it back. Maybe France gets liberated, of course. But maybe he keeps Poland. He's going to keep a lot of stuff. That would have been the peace. He'd have kept a big chunk of everything he'd taken. That would have been the peace that would have been made, because there wouldn't. I find it interesting that America was okay with a conditional surrender from Japan. They said it was an unconditional surrender, but we didn't get Hirohito. He was the guy that fucking made the decision to bomb Pearl Harbor. We didn't get his ass. We hunted Hitler down until he had to blow his brains out. Mussolini got hung and pissed on in the streets. Hirohito lived out the rest of his life as the emperor of fucking Japan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there was also a part of like condolence, like whoops, like we kind of really fucked over Japan in a way that maybe we shouldn't have. Like there's
another aspect. I think to me the big thing was Japan's really hard to take, right? Like you have to do beach, you have to take over beach after beach after beach where they're reinforced, they're sitting there behind hills or bunkers or whatever, and we're running across the sand. And you have to do that again and again and again. We're like, we're going to lose so many people. It's going to be so hard to take island after island.
The estimates were 1 million men, 1 million American casualties to take the home island of Japan. But I don't think you need that. Our air power was so good. We could have bombed them and kept bombing them and made a couple more nukes if we wanted to. We could have had another nuke in 8 months.
We could have destroyed Tokyo. We could have burned every city they had. We could have exterminated them. And I would have been, and I'm still for that. You know,
But remember that would have been
to this date, 75 years. I don't forget.
Yeah.
You know, like you know that clip we reference sometimes, like, "Are we the baddies?"
Yeah.
That picture I just linked is literally Benito Mussolini's headquarters in Italy during World War II. That you cannot have that be your headquarter building and walk in every morning with your Starbucks being like, time to improve reality for all of my Italian brothers. Like, no, you walk into that into your scary CCCCCCC building written on there. It's like
it's ISIS upside down.
The people who worked at that cafe to the left, do you think they ever walked out and served somebody their fucking, Italian whatever the hell coffee and went like, so glad Benito's here helping Italy? Like, no, they're probably like, God, this guy's a fucking asshole. He has a picture of his own angry face on the outside.
Would it be cappuccino?
Glad Mussolini watches over us all.
Yeah, he just looks over
that
us
looks
all.
like the fucking floating head from Zardoz or something like that.
Yeah, but Mussolini, he was killed by his own people. He and his mistress. Like, the picture of them. Yeah.
That's the other thing that you're making a really good point too about just history. It's like even in Nazi Germany, not all Germans were Nazis, right? Like,
no, very small percentage.
Did you hear what happened in Germany today?
No, we didn't hear what happened in Germany.
A bomb from World War II went off and killed a guy.
No way. I thought you said Jeremy, not Germany.
Did you hear what went off in Germany today?
It was me.
Yeah, apparently this thing has been lying dormant since World War II. And it went off and killed a guy and caused all kinds of destruction. There's houses blown up and buildings messed up and all kinds of stuff. It was a big bomb.
Why was it near houses?
Into it, and apparently this happens pretty regularly in Germany. Like 20 people have died in the last, since the war's been over, of just random bombs
keep
going off.
Like idle bombs that fell out, bombers just laying around? They don't try to remove them?
I think it was undiscovered until yesterday.
That unlucky guy.
This leads into the topic that I've been holding since before the show. So, in war, winners write the history, right? That much is land is determined. And because of that, everyone that's ever lost a war has been the bad guy, right? In the US Civil War, the South, they were totally the slave masters. Germany, they were totally, they were killing Jews, Nazis, etc., etc. Nazi is a dirty word. In Italy, even Japan. Japan, I think if you look at it, had some, I think, honorable fighting tactics, right? The kamikaze thing was brave. If Japan ended up winning after Germany dropped off, people would be singing the songs of the brave acts and honorable way that they fought.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
I don't disagree. I think people would be singing like these brave warriors. They'd be heroes. There'd be plaques against the guys that kamikaze.
Well, they'd be heroes in Germany.
You might disagree, Kyle, with the fact with the idea of the songs, but if Japan won, no, you might disagree that they were honorable fighters. I don't know. To me, they ran in there. They were brave. They were kamikazes. They were doing their thing. But or maybe there's something I don't know. But I do know this: if they won, they would be the good guys. Because the winners write the history. And
so World War II is a rare example in human history where things polarized in a way that wasn't about greed or power struggles or any of that. It was really about good versus evil. Now you could say bad things about Churchill and FDR and everyone that was really involved in the war for the Allies, but the core thing is Japan employed horrible tactics. Like when they invaded China, they raped, tortured, burnt people alive in the streets, horrible atrocities, and those were their neighbors. So
wait, they burnt people in the streets? How does that compare to the atomic bomb?
Let me exactly to the atomic bomb. We burnt people in the streets with it.
So here's the difference.
Technically, the radiation did that.
Yeah, but we did it big. We did it Texas style, right? We didn't just burn a person or two. We burnt a city.
So we call them firebombings. So the way you firebomb a city, and the Allies did this a lot, is you studied the weather patterns. You didn't just say, okay, we'll go bomb them Friday because Friday the skies are going to be clear. You said let's hit them Friday because there's a low pressure zone, and on Saturday night the winds are coming in from the north. You designed a firestorm.
And this is what the good guys did.
This is what the good guys did.
I'm following.
Because they had bamboo structures.
And that's that was in Japan. We also did in Germany. I knew a guy who was in Hamburg and was bombed. He was like 7 years old at the time. But what I'm talking about is the ideologies of the parties involved. At the top, at the core, Japan was evil. The things they were doing to the people around them were evil. We weren't doing anything like that. Neither were the British. Neither were the French. They weren't exterminating racist.
Did we do anything like that?
Well, we did cut off Japan's oil, and they were pretty pissed about that.
Vietnam.
Well, we were looking for a way to get into
Vietnam.
the war.
We were wrong. Vietnam was a bad war, and we lost, and we should have. And there's an example.
You're anti-troop.
No, I'm anti-Vietnam. That was the dumbest. That was the dumbest
like
war we've ever
Vietnam,
fought.
we used Agent Orange against them, which still deforms them to this day. Like babies come out deformed because of it.
I don't know about all that, but Vietnam is a
Agent Orange
horrible war.
is a chemical we poured into the forest designed to clear the forest so the troops wouldn't have to deal with these search and destroy ambushes.
I don't mean to cut off the examples if someone's going to be mad about it, but are there any examples where the bad guy won in war, where someone had the opportunity to write history?
Vietnam.
Wait, the bad guy? You did. All right, so you swapped stories on this one.
Well, the
bad guys won. The North Vietnamese won. They won.
Oh wait.
What do you mean? Do you mean where
We
the
lost.
bad guy or the
And we wrote it that
example?
way, you know.
Where somebody won the war, but they still came off looking like the bad guy.
Yeah, I guess with the benefit of writing history, I can't think of an
Okay,
example.
well,
right?
I can think of one right now. Iraq, exactly, Wings. Iraq.
Iraq War.
There
The
you
bad
go.
guy won that war.
You talking about the second one?
The second one.
Yeah, the second one, the Bush one.
Wow. So we're the,
The
bad.
first
What,
one was
what
Bush
about the shining beacon of democracy we created that's going to serve as a catalyst for the rest of the Middle East to say we want to be more like Iraq? Now, what happens in Iraq is driven by political forces instead of military forces, right? Iraq was a success in that, this is the argument. Iraq was a success in that now, instead of who has the most guns and who's willing to die in the fiercest way possible, it's who has the most votes, who has the political sway. That's what determines what gets done in Iraq today.
Yeah,
But then why in the Middle East?
Look at the Palestinians in the
thousands of years. They just don't want it. They're sovereign nations. They say we don't want democracy. Screw you.
That's not as cool.
No, it's not.
They didn't have as good uniforms.
Nope.
That would be more acceptable to dress up as World War I Germans than the Nazis.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, because they weren't
Yeah.
evil. They were just, it was a big land dispute. You know, just lots of treaties and stuff falling apart. Yeah, the World War I Germans weren't quite the evil empire that the World War II ones were. Man, those people were evil, eh?
Does anybody else think that they should have struck out and after the second time in 25 years, Germany decided to try and, take over Europe? They should have been like, you know what? No, none of this again. We're shutting this down. I guess we did try that, splitting Germany up. Didn't pan out.
That World War II was like the most successful takeover in recent time, right? Like for invasions, right? Like, I mean, the British
Germany?
Empire was pretty huge, like the biggest of them all. But I mean, that was what, 1800s? I can't remember. I'm not.
Well, it depends how you're going to
that's-
categorize it, right? Because the British Empire expanded over hundreds of years, bigger and bigger and
Right.
bigger. And Hitler was like, boom,
that was like
years
a
go
year.
by and he owns most of Europe. It was an explosive blitzkrieg where he was just conquering all of Europe. It
Well, he had
happened
a real
quickly.
weak hold on it. That's the thing. Like I have a hard time calling it successful when he held it for, I'm making up numbers, 18 months or something? By today's
Yeah. It
war
wasn't
standards,
fair,
that's
though.
a flash in the pan.
But everybody came in and bullied up on him, right? Like he didn't. It's not like the French took things over. It's not like the Poles came in and took their shit back. It was like, no, the Americans and the Russians put him in a vice from either side and kind of took the stuff back. It kind of bullied him if you think about it. Hitler's the victim in all this.
He was bullied.
Yeah, there's no 2-on-1, no 2-on-1. If you see two guys,
You're leaving out Britain entirely. He's got
You're leaving out like a lot of Axis powers here.
Well, after Britain, it falls off a bunch.
Britain would have fought. They'd have had Britain if it weren't for us anyway. We're just kind of propping them up with constant food supplies and munitions and fuel and all that stuff. Like, come on, they survived as long as they did because of that little body of water that separated them from France.
Imagine I didn't know, I guess I probably should have known this, but that the Japanese didn't tell Hitler that they were going to bomb Pearl Harbor. And it was just a surprise. And so like I bet part of Hitler knew as soon as that happened that, you know, the end was not approaching immediately, but that it had begun. Because it was like he'd already pissed off the Soviet Union. I had no idea like how much bigger the Soviet Union's army was, even though they were poorly conscripted and everything, poorly trained. Because like all of these battles I'm watching in this documentary are like, oh, and then they used, you know, the German armor used a pincer movement on Minsk or whatever, and 400,000 Russians were captured. And it's like, fuck, they must be running low on guys. And it's like, and then they moved to this city and captured it. 600,000 were captured. And then it's like, oh my God, like, how did that not end sooner? And it's like, well, Stalin conscripted 16 million more men into his service. And it's like, oh, okay, this is how. He just had a giant country full of people, like, and just did a meat grinder.
Absolutely. Like, that's why when we played Company of Heroes, you know, as when you played as the Russians, your squads had more men in them.
Yep. Yeah, they were weaker, but you could pump out a ton of them.
I'm going to take that as fact. I don't know enough to dispute that, but I'm going to just say, like, yeah, sure.
A lot of my geopolitics come from civilizations. I don't know about this Company of Heroes bullshit.
Yeah, it's a super interesting show. It's from like 2009, so it's like 8 years old now. But World War II in HD. If anyone out there hasn't checked that out yet, it's really interesting.
Or in color, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. World War II in color. You're right.
Yeah, I've seen all that. It's very good. I love those old. I love World War II, I guess, which I didn't like. Whenever they caught that fucking Nazi that ran the people over in Charlottesville, they go to his like his teacher from high school. He's like, he loved World War II, especially the weaponry. I'm like, Jesus, don't poison that. Like, come on, it's interesting shit. You could be interested in World War II and German weaponry without being a fucking Nazi. Like I love the Jews.
For sure.
I think they might be the best people. You want to talk about the master race? It might be the Jewish people, motherfucker. So, like, I kind of didn't like.
They're in the running, right? They go on the short list. Them and the ancients.
Highest IQs, per capita, the most money. They, you know, so much wealth and property and influence, globally speaking.
They've locked down an entire block over by where I live, and the only people I've ever seen actually ride Razor scooters in this century or in this decade are the Hasidic Jews kids. Like, they are shredding with top hats and Razor scooters, and I'm like awesome. It doesn't matter what time of day it is, I'll just be driving down the street and like, there you go. I'm like, all right, like, yeah, own it. Like,
I little curls blowing in the wind.
But they're not little. These things are hanging. Like, I'm all for it.
You are Canadian. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
Reddit.
so that's Oh, no,
you see that Reddit post where they were showing where all the Allied and Axis powers were signing that document to end World War II, and it's one of those super official documents, right? It's the document where the leaders of each nation are signing to end World War II. And so, you know, at the top, it's got this big header, you know, we the nations of Earth fucking blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, it's got printed, you know, Prime Minister of Japan and, you know, like whatever the guy from America was, you know, Rear Admiral MacArthur, whoever the fuck, I don't remember who it was. And it's like down the list. And you're supposed to be like, it's got your name printed and then a line. And then you're supposed to sign on that. Canada fucks up, signs on the wrong side of the line. So every country below them had to write in next to their name who the fuck they were, because everybody had to get shifted down. So the last name is just written in the margins on the form that ends World War II. They didn't bring a second copy, and Canada ruined the one they had.
How did Canada? Who fucked it up in Canada?
I just kept fighting.
Let me see if I can find it.
Should have just. Yeah, it's just like, well, this is not up to our standard of surrender.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Canada, disrespect.
You had the insult to dishonor. War back on. Yeah, look at the shit. It's so bad.
No, come on,
Canada.
Wow.
Everybody else knew, obviously.
Whoever that is from the poor guy who's from the Dominion of New Zealand has to write in the goddamn margins on the bottom.
Poor guy. He should have been given. He should have not thank you invited. Was New Zealand even involved?
Did they laugh at this?
They were very involved. They were right in the heart of.
What was happening in the room? What was the vibe in the room? Are they all in the room together? Are they laughing at that, or like what was?
No, nobody's laughing on that. I imagine they were on like a battleship or something, like super, like everybody's like fucking shoulders back, like, all right, this is it, boys. The last shot's been fired.
I feel like everyone's just like, why did Canada even have to sign it? Come on.
I would laugh at the Canadian.
Can you imagine? Like, I bet that Canadian fuck was sweating more than Taylor when it popped it. Like, oh no, and he's got to pass the form on to fucking Honduras or whoever the fuck signs after him. And he's just like,
I'm gonna skip out before the final dinner. You know.
I like to imagine they sat there trying to decide how they're gonna like fix this for like 20 minutes. That they literally it could have started a whole new fight.
Yeah, like disagreeing about what should be done.
Like someone, we should just write it down and do it. Like, oh, why are you going to decide that? I believe you just lost the war. If anyone should decide, it's us. And it's like, this isn't what we were.
We invented writing. It wouldn't go well. It wouldn't go well. Yeah, that is a real fucking